Chapter 1961. If I find out that you're up to something, I'll kill you even if I have to pay a huge price. Yang Hongwu's eyes flashed coldly as he looked at Dao Monarch Darkness. Don't worry, there won't be any other schemes. In fact, this little girl can be considered my disciple now. For someone of my level, it's very difficult to find a suitable successor. This little girl has the most suitable physique. It's a very happy thing for me to be able to find such a successor. When her cultivation reaches the Emperor realm, I'll give her a big gift. Dao Monarch Darkness said. Yang Hongwu's tone shocked Dao Monarch Darkness. He didn't doubt that if Yang Hongwu knew that he had ill intentions towards Anya Shin, he would probably kill him. Dao Monarch Darkness even had a premonition. Even if his true body was sealed in this box, it wouldn't be able to stop Yang Hongwu. This seal should be easily broken. I hope you're telling the truth. Yang Hongwu glanced at him coldly, then reached out and grabbed the box. Where did you put this box that sealed me? If you make Zhiga lose his senses, he'll know. When that happens, don't blame me for not warning you if Zhiga has any ill intentions towards you. Although your current strength isn't bad, you can deal with ordinary sovereigns. If you face a Dao Monarch expert, you'll die. You can never imagine how terrifying a true Dao Monarch expert is. Only when you reach that level will you understand how terrifying a Dao Monarch expert is. Everyone below the Dao Monarch realm is an ant. No matter how strong your talent is, how strong you are below the Dao Monarch realm, and how many half-step Dao Monarchs you can deal with alone, it's meaningless. In the eyes of a Dao Monarch expert, you're all ants. They can kill you with a single breath. Dao Monarch Darkness said. Yang Hongwu was slightly taken aback when he heard this. It wasn't just Yang Hongwu. Even Pan and I and Anya Shin were very surprised when they heard this. Although they knew that a Dao Monarch expert strength was terrifying, it couldn't be to this extent, right? If that was really the case, then they were too powerful and inconceivable. That terrifying? Yang Hongwu narrowed his eyes. If you're really as terrifying as you say, this clone of yours should be able to kill us easily. Dao Monarch Darkness snorted and looked at Yang Hongwu. Do you think I'm lying? Impossible. If it wasn't for my true body and my clone strength, do you think you'd be able to kill me so easily? In fact, if I wanted to kill you all, I would be able to do so. However, if I were to kill you all, I fear that bastard Zhiga would immediately appear and cause trouble for me. Dao Lord Darkness was extremely wary of Zhiga. In reality, he was extremely clear that this was, after all, the inner world of the self-defense Divine Palace. Inside each Divine Palace was a spatial world, and inside each Divine Palace, there was a sealed space. And there were even multiple experts. Moreover, the other party's cultivation was at least at the Dao Lord realm, and he was one of them. He wasn't the only one sealed in the Divine Palace. He wasn't the strongest. Many people who were much stronger than him were sealed in this Dao Monarch Divine Palace. For ordinary weak martial artists, this Dao Monarch Divine Palace was a holy land for cultivation. However, for experts like him who were imprisoned in the Dao Monarch Divine Palace, it was a prison. It was a prison that they couldn't escape from. He understood extremely clearly that if he truly wanted to escape from this prison, the difficulty would be too great, unless someone took action against self-defense and seized its self-defense Divine Palace. However, the possibility was very small. Who was Dao Monarch Divine Palace? He was one of the four supreme Dao Monarchs. His strength was terrifying. Ordinary people couldn't imagine. If I'm not wrong, he should have noticed, Yang Hongwu said. Dao Monarch Darkness frowned. He looked at Yang Hongwu's expression and didn't seem to be lying. He couldn't help but ask, why do you say that? How can you be sure? Because Dao Monarch Divine Palace sent someone to test me. Moreover, in the second Dao Monarch Divine Palace. Yang Hongwu said, therefore, it's very likely that Dao Monarch Divine Palace has been paying attention to me. Now that you've come into contact with me, they've naturally noticed. There's nothing strange about this. Darkness Dao Monarch frowned and looked at Yang Hongwu. This brat's talent was too outstanding. His cultivation realm was only at the Imperial Emperor realm, but his strength and combat strength were extremely terrifying. He was able to fight against a sovereign realm expert with the cultivation of an early sovereign realm expert. Even a late sovereign realm expert or a half-step Dao monarch expert might not be able to stop him. From this, one could see how terrifying this brat's talent was. Anyone would pay attention to such a monstrous talent. Everyone would be shocked. Although at Dao Monarch Divine Palace's level, he disdained to attack juniors who hadn't grown up yet. He could take them in as disciples. Even if he couldn't pass on his legacy, it was completely fine to take them in as disciples. If they could grow up, then wait. To have a peerless expert in their sect would be a huge boost for any major force. Generally speaking, for some experts, especially between different races, if their opponents had such a terrifyingly talented youngster, such a peerless genius, they would do everything they could to deal with them, or even pay a huge price to assassinate them. This was possible. Yes, this young man in front of him very likely had that kind of talent. Therefore, Dao Monarch Darkness guessed that this kid might be the target of Dao Monarch Divine Palace's nurturing. He might be one of his future successors. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that he was a preparatory successor. Dao Monarch Divine Palace had nurtured many experts. Among his disciples, there were quite a number of Dao Monarchs. There were a total of 8 of them. These 8 people were all personally nurtured by Dao Monarch Divine Palace. Could it be that Yang Hongwu was the 9th disciple that he valued? Dao Monarch Darkness, who had once opposed Dao Monarch Darkness, knew very well how terrifying Dao Monarch Divine Palace's strength was. Back then, although Dao Monarch Divine Palace's weakest disciple wasn't his match, he was still able to escape from Dao Monarch Darkness. Chapter 1962. Even if you're valued, it's impossible for Zhiga to keep an eye on you all the time. In his eyes, you're at most a disciple candidate. Dao Monarch Darkness said, "You think too highly of yourself. Even if you're talented, so what? There are too many talented people in the myriad worlds. You're just one of them. I've seen too many geniuses. In fact, there are very few who can truly become experts. Of course, such geniuses won't die if they're heavily nurtured. However, such experts can't become true experts without experiencing life and death battles. A true genius has to face endless slaughter. Only those geniuses who can constantly hover on the edge of life and death and protect their own lives can truly become experts. And you, this is just the beginning." Yang Hongwu looked at Dao Monarch Darkness. This guy's tone was getting more and more impolite. It was as if he was treating Yang Hongwu as an elder. Although Yang Hongwu was very unhappy, he had to admit that this guy's words were very correct. There was a long way for a genius to become an expert. Part of it depended on strength, and part of it depended on luck. Only those who had both strength and luck could grow. This luck also referred to the so-called destiny. Since you're not afraid of being discovered by Zhiga, I don't care. Anyway, an expert like Zhiga would never do anything to a nobody like me. Yang Hongwu smiled, not caring at all. He knew very well that Dao Monarch Darkness was very powerful. Dao Lord was so powerful, and this was Dao Lord Halberd's inner world. How could he not know who was doing what in his inner world? As long as he was willing, nothing in the entire sky-reaching continent could escape his eyes. Of course, he wouldn't pay attention to some small matters. With his strength reaching such a level, he disdained to monitor the martial arts of the sky-reaching continent. Generally speaking, if he wanted to know something about the actions of the cultivators, he could just deduce it directly. Unless it was someone with a special fate or someone whose strength surpassed the Dao Monarch realm, he wouldn't be able to deduce their whereabouts. Under normal circumstances, no one would be able to escape from his divination. This was because of strength. Of course, this could only be done in his inner world. If he was in the outside world, it would not be so easy for him to deduce others so easily. "Little fellow, you don't have to test me." Dao Monarch Darkness smiled and said, "Even if you were Zhiga's true disciple, I don't need to worry. If Zhiga wanted to make a move against me, he would have done so long ago. He wouldn't just seal me here. In the past, Zhiga's strength was enough to kill me. However, I don't understand why he only sealed me here." At this point, Dao Lord Darkness paused and sighed. Perhaps the guy thinks that I'm not qualified to die in his hands. Thinking of this, Tao Monarch Darkness felt very helpless. He had to admit that the gap between his strength and Zhigu was too big. Although they were both Tao Monarchs, Zhigu seemed to have touched the legendary realm. At that level, it was truly terrifying. Forget it. I don't want to talk about this with you. I think your strength is not bad now. It shouldn't be too big of a problem for you to help me solve a problem, right? Yang Hongwu said, you want me to help you deal with that half-step Tao Monarch outside. Tao Monarch Darkness looked at Yang Hongwu and said, Tao Monarch Darkness understood Yang Hongwu's thoughts very well. After all, a Tao Monarch expert was like an old fox. However, how could he not see through Tao Monarch Darkness's thoughts? With your strength, it shouldn't be a problem for you to deal with a half-step Tao Monarch, right? Yang Hongwu looked at him and said, although Yang Hongwu didn't have to pay any price to deal with Tao Monarch Darkness, Yang Hongwu knew very well that if Tao Monarch Darkness really wanted to fight to the death with him, he would really be in a lot of trouble. After all, this family was very powerful. This fellow's strength was truly terrifying. Although he had been sealed, once he unleashed his full power, a mere half-step Tao Lord might not necessarily be able to withstand him. Therefore, this was also Yang Hongwu's way of probing. You're thinking too much. If I was at my peak, I could easily kill 1,000 or 10,000 half-step Tao Monarchs, let alone a mere half-step Tao Monarch. Even if my strength was less than 10% and I was heavily injured, I could still easily do it. However, it's just an incarnation. Do you think I can do it? Tao Monarch Darkness rolled his eyes. This kid really thought that half-step Tao Monarchs were trash that he could casually crush. You definitely have a way. Yang Hongwu looked at him and said, even if I did, why should I give it to you? Tao Monarch Darkness said, our deal doesn't include helping you deal with your enemy. You will agree. Yang Hongwu smiled faintly. At that moment, Yang Hongwu waved his hand and placed a seal in the box that sealed his true body. This time, Tao Monarch Darkness's eyes widened. He was shocked. He was very clear about the power of the box that sealed his real body. Although it looked like a box, there was actually a world inside the box. However, in this world, there was only one thing that was different from the real world. Moreover, the space inside the box was very large, but there was no trace of spiritual chi. The reason why he had paid a huge price to tear open a crack and let an incarnation out was not only for freedom, but also to absorb spiritual chi from the outside world to continuously restore his natural true body. Otherwise, if he couldn't replenish his spiritual chi, his true body would sooner or later be greatly weakened due to the continuous loss of energy in his body. He might even die. Being killed by an expert wasn't scary. What was scary was dying so sullenly and being trapped alive. This was the most speechless thing. As a Tao Monarch expert, this was a kind of humiliation. What shocked him the most was that Yang Hongwu was actually able to repair a crack in his seal so easily. This was simply too unbelievable. One had to know that this seal had been personally placed by Tao Lord Jiga, and he had paid a huge price for it. Chapter 1963. Kid, how did you do it? He had to admit that this kid was too strange. Tao Monarch Darkness was truly shocked. How I did it isn't important. The important thing is, do you agree to my conditions? Yang Hongwu looked at Tao Lord Darkness. I agree to help you deal with that old ancestor Qinshan outside. However, you have to open this seal a little for me. Tao Lord Darkness looked at Yang Hongwu and said, in fact, he really wanted Yang Hongwu to open the seal completely. However, he hesitated. Firstly, Yang Hongwu might not agree to it. Secondly, even if Yang Hongwu agreed to it, he didn't have the confidence to face Zhigu. If Zhigu was enraged, he would be beaten to death. He wouldn't be able to reason with Zhigu. I can change the seal a little and allow you to establish a connection with your incarnation. Yang Hongwu looked at him and said, however, you have to help me deal with that guy outside the formation. If you can't do it, don't blame me. You're welcome. This was definitely a threat. However, Tao Lord Darkness couldn't do anything about it. When had he ever been threatened like this? Even Tao Lord Jithgo had never threatened him like this. However, Tao Lord Darkness couldn't refute it. There was nothing he could do about it. It was too frustrating. All right. In fact, you have a strength to deal with that guy, right? Tao Lord Darkness asked. That has nothing to do with you. Besides, now that you can help me solve the problem, I won't have to waste so much effort. Yang Hongwu said. Indeed, if he used the entire Black Evil Town as the eye of the formation and used the formation to fight with the other party, then there would be a way to deal with that guy. However, Yang Hongwu didn't want to delay any longer. Since he had obtained what he wanted, it was time to get down to business, which was to enter the Black Evil Abyss and find his place. The planar boat was the most important thing. Everything else had to be put aside. If it hadn't been for the fact that the Black Fiend Patriarch had already reached the edge of the Black Fiend Abyss, Yang Hongwu wouldn't have wanted to deal with the Qiantian Patriarch first. After all, this fellow was a half-step Tao Lord. If it wasn't for the fact that the Black Fiend Patriarch was about to arrive, Lin Fan would have ignored the Patriarch and entered the Black Fiend Abyss. In order to prevent the two from joining forces, Yang Hongwu had to deal with one of them first. After all, even if the Qiantian Ancestor and the Black Fiend Ancestor teamed up, they might not be able to defeat Yang Hongwu. However, they would still cause him a lot of trouble and delay him. This puppet talisman is for you. It should be enough for you to deal with that guy. At this moment, Tao Monarch Darkness took out a box. This box contained an extremely domineering and murderous aura. It was an extremely violent and dark aura. This aura caused people's souls to tremble. Terrifying, too terrifying. What kind of puppet is this? How can it be so terrifying? Anya Shin couldn't help but tremble after sensing the terrifying aura from the box. This is the Heavenly Annihilation Spider. Tao Monarch Darkness said, I paid a great price to capture this Heavenly Annihilation Spider and refine it into a puppet. Unfortunately, this puppet talisman has been used many times and has consumed a lot of energy. I can only use it one more time. Of course, it shouldn't be too much of a problem against a half-step Tao Lord. Yang Hongwu looked at Tao Lord Darkness in astonishment. This fellow was actually willing to take out such a treasure. However, why didn't he take out the Heavenly Annihilation Spider when he was being suppressed by Yang Hongwu? There's another problem with this Heavenly Annihilation Spider. It can easily cause people to fall into a demonic state. Kid, you have to be careful. This Heavenly Annihilation Spider talisman might be powerful, but if you're not careful, you might be affected by the remnant will of the spider and even be robbed. Don't blame me for this. I'm here to warn you. Tao Monarch Darkness thought for a moment and said. He didn't want to say it at first, but after hesitating for a moment, he still decided to warn Yishiwen. If this guy really fell into a demonic state due to the remnant soul of the Heavenly Annihilation Spider, he would be in big trouble. Yes, he was sealed. Moreover, Yang Hongwu had a way to completely seal him and kill this clone of his. That would be too risky for him. Therefore, for safety's sake, it was better to warn Yishiwen. There's still the remnant soul of the Heavenly Annihilation Spider. It's not a threat to me. With that, Yang Hongwu opened the box. Upon seeing this, Tao Lord Darkness was completely speechless. This kid really was confident in himself. He didn't care about the Heaven Devastation Spider at all. The Heaven Devastation Spider wasn't a half-step Tao Lord. Back when Tao Lord Darkness had slain the Heaven Devastation Spider, Tao Lord Darkness had slain it. When Yishiwen killed it, he had to pay a huge price to refine it into a puppet talisman. It was a Tao Lord level Heavenly Annihilation Spider with terrifying strength. Even though the puppet talisman of the Heavenly Annihilation Spider had consumed a lot of energy and was already broken, its power was still very terrifying. Moreover, countless cultivators had died in this puppet talisman. After being stained with blood, the evil chi of this remnant soul had become quite terrifying. Even Tao Monarch Darkness was a little worried. However, he remembered that Yang Hongwu did have something that could restrain the remnant soul of the Heavenly Annihilation Spider. That was the karmic fire of the Red Lotus. His karmic fire of the Red Lotus could perfectly restrain the remnant soul of the Heavenly Annihilation Spider. Evil Chi. After Yang Hongwu opened the box, a black light instantly rushed out. This black light appeared in the air and turned into a talisman. This talisman kept floating and flashing with a terrifying aura. This puppet talisman wanted to fly away, but it was restrained by an invisible force. "Come here." Yang Hongwu reached out and grabbed the talisman. A force erupted from his hand and instantly suppressed the puppet talisman. The evil qi dissipated in an instant. This move made Dao Monarch Darkness have a whole new level of respect for him. This kid was indeed very powerful. He didn't know what other strange and powerful trump cards this kid had. Fortunately, he didn't take the risk to control this kid. Otherwise, he would be in trouble now. Too big. Chapter 1964. However, it would be a pity if the talisman was destroyed after just one use. After all, the puppet talisman would be a Dao Lord Realm puppet once it was restored to its peak. However, it would require a lot of resources and a lot of time to fully repair it. What did Yang Hongwu lack the most right now? It was time. However, even though he couldn't completely repair the Heavenly Destruction Spider's puppet talisman, he could at least restore it slightly so that it wouldn't be destroyed after just one use. At the thought of this, Yang Hongwu infused a stream of creation energy into the talisman. The moment the creation energy entered the puppet talisman, the original ferocious aura started to fade away. Of course, after Yang Hongwu infused the creation energy into the talisman, he completely refined it and planted his spiritual imprint on it. Unless the puppet talisman broke through its shackles and surpassed the creation realm, it wouldn't be able to break free even if it broke through to the Dao Lord realm. Go! Yang Hongwu released the talisman, and it instantly turned into a huge beast. This beast was the Heavenly Destruction Spider. The Heavenly Destruction Spider nodded at Yang Hongwu and disappeared. In the next moment, it appeared outside the formation of Black Fiend Town. What's that? Patriarch Qianshen, who was attacking the formation, was shocked when he saw the Heavenly Destruction Spider. This behemoth had a terrifyingly powerful aura. Even a half-step Dao Lord like him was suppressed by it. Terrifying. Truly terrifying. What kind of beast is this? Patriarch Qianshen had never seen such a powerful beast before. He didn't have any information about it in his mind. However, the ferocious beast before him was charging at him menacingly. Old Ancestor Qianshen's face was extremely grim. He knew that he was in big trouble this time. This terrifying beast was obviously coming for him. Black Fiend Patriarch. He kept retreating and stopped attacking the formation. If no one came to disturb him, he would be able to break the formation in less than 15 minutes. However, such a powerful beast had appeared at this moment. Moreover, it seemed to be coming for him. Therefore, he had no choice but to contact the Black Fiend Patriarch in the face of such a terrifying beast. The formation has been broken. The Black Demon Patriarch's voice came from the messaging charm. I've arrived as well. I'll attack the formation soon. It's been a long time since we've worked together. I'd like to see who has the guts to attack my Black Demon Town. No, I'm telling you that I'm in trouble. The other party is really terrifying. Patriarch Qianshen said, I've encountered a terrifying beast. A beast that I've never seen before. It's no weaker than the Heavenly Ancestor. What? The Black Fiend Patriarch's face changed. The other party's strength was so terrifying. It was just a beast, but it was comparable to the Heavenly Ancestor. He knew very well what kind of person the Heavenly Ancestor was. It was said that the Heavenly Ancestor's strength had reached the level of a Dao Lord. However, he did not want to leave the Heavenly Ancestor, so he suppressed his cultivation and did not break through. It could be said that the Heavenly Ancestor was the undisputed number one in the Heavenly Ancestor. What kind of beast could cause the Patriarch Qianshen to be so afraid? It was an existence that was comparable to the Heavenly Ancestor. In fact, the Heavenly Annihilation Spider wasn't that strong. However, after Yang Hongwu added that strand of creation chi, the beast became extremely terrifying and its strength increased by another level. Of course, it was still a far cry from the Heavenly Annihilation Spider at its peak. However, no one below the level of a Dao Lord could defeat it easily. After all, the level of a Dao Lord was on a completely different level from that of a Dao Lord. Therefore, I'm afraid that I can't join forces with you. Unless you can come out now and join forces with me to kill this beast, there's no other way. The patriarch Qian said, "Moreover, even if we join forces, we won't be able to defeat it. This beast is probably just a battle beast of the other party. If a mere battle beast is already so terrifying, how strong would the other party be? Do I have to give up just like that?" The Black Fiend Patriarch was unwilling to give up. Black Fiend Town was a base that he had built many years ago. Moreover, there was a huge secret under Black Fiend Town that was related to the secret of the entire Black Fiend Abyss. It was said that the secret of Heavenly Annihilation Tao Lord was under Black Fiend Town. Although he had not found it after so many years, he had never given up. In truth, there was an ancient steel at the very center of Black Fiend Town. That ancient steel had been sealed by him, and it was rumored that it was the foundation of Tao Lord Heaven Fiend's legacy. The entire Black Fiend Town was built with that ancient steel as its core. No, I won't give up. So what if the other party is strong? At this moment, the Black Demon Patriarch's face turned ferocious. "Help me restrain that beast. What are you trying to do?" The Patriarch Qian's face changed when he heard this. However, he had no time to talk to the Black Fiend Patriarch. The Heavenly Annihilation Spider was already charging towards him. Its legs were like terrifying sickles that pierced towards him. If he was hit, he would be severely injured even if he didn't die. He had no choice but to dodge. In the face of such a terrifying beast, he didn't have any strength to fight back. He could only defend himself and retreat continuously. At this moment, he could guess what the Black Fiend Patriarch was thinking. The Black Fiend Patriarch probably wanted to break the barrier between Black Fiend Town and Black Fiend Abyss. If this barrier was broken, it would be troublesome. The entire Black Fiend Town and even the entire sky-reaching land would be filled with the terrifying fiendish aura. How did the Heavenly Annihilation Spider become stronger? Tao Lord Darkness, who was looking at the Heavenly Annihilation Spider in Black Fiend Town, was very surprised. The Heavenly Annihilation Spider shouldn't be this strong, but it should be more ferocious. However, the Heavenly Annihilation Spider's ferocious aura wasn't as terrifying as he had imagined. Instead, its combat strength was much stronger than he had expected. Chapter 1965. Bastards, you forced me to do this. At this time, the Black Fiend Patriarch had already arrived at the entrance of Black Fiend Town and Black Fiend Abyss. Looking at the sealed formation, a cold light flashed in his eyes. He took out something in his hand. That thing was thrown out and instantly exploded. The barrier between Black Fiend Town and Black Fiend Abyss seemed to have been hit by a terrible force. Even the space instantly shattered. The entire Black Demon Town trembled. Damn it! Yang Hongwu didn't expect that the space between Black Demon Town and Black Demon Abyss would shatter. The Black Demon Patriarch had made a move. How ruthless! Yang Hongwu couldn't help but be surprised. The evil Black Ancestor was so vicious that he actually destroyed this space. He must have paid a hefty price to do so. The space of the sky-reaching continent was extremely sturdy, but now it had been destroyed. Edited by Lifer, Fingerfox, what's going on? The people of Black Evil Town were alarmed to find that the barrier between Black Evil Town and Black Evil Abyss had been broken. Terrifying evil chi instantly rushed into Black Evil Town. It didn't take long for the entire Black Evil Town to be shrouded in evil chi. Outside Black Demon Town, Qian Patriarch was being beaten back by the destructive Heavenly Spider. However, he also noticed the changes in Black Demon Town. The formation of Black Demon Town had disappeared. After the terrifying evil chi shrouded the entire town, he knew very well that this was the Black Demon Patriarch's move. He didn't expect that the Black Demon Patriarch would really do it. For the entire Heavenspan lands, this was a huge blow. At least, the area within 10,000 miles of Black Demon Town would be greatly affected. Moreover, the impact would continue to spread. Black Demon Patriarch. At this moment, a sturdy old man came out. His eyes were like a terrifying blade, extremely terrifying. He stared at Yang Hongwu. After coming out, the Black Demon Patriarch knew who his opponent was. It was Yang Hongwu, a mere Sovereign Emperor Realm martial artist. Moreover, he was only an early-stage Sovereign Emperor Realm brat who had not even reached the Sovereign Realm, had actually forced him to such an extent. He was filled with hatred towards Yang Hongwu. It was all because of this brat that he had to blame everything on this brat. If not for him, Yi Qingyu would still be in the Black Fiend Abyss, searching for an opportunity to break through. However, it was precisely because he had killed one of Yi Qingyu's incarnations that Yi Qingyu failed on the verge of success and even suffer backlash. Even without Yang Hongwu, he might not have succeeded in killing his clone. However, his strength would definitely have risen to a whole new level. However, Yang Hongwu had killed his clone, so not only did his strength fail to rise, he even suffered from backlash. He was quite injured, and his cultivation dropped by quite a bit. Because of this, he had used up the favor Patriarch Qianshan owed him and paid a great price. A single favor wasn't enough to make Patriarch Qianshan give up on his seclusion and come out. Yi Qingyu had even given Patriarch Qianshan a supreme divine herb as a reward. If not for that, Patriarch Qianshan would have left long ago instead of fighting against that terrifying beast. Black Fiend Patriarch, come and help me. Patriarch Qianshan hurriedly shouted when he saw the Black Fiend Patriarch appear. The Black Demon Old Ancestor glanced at the ferocious beast that the Qianshan Old Ancestor was trying to fend off. His face changed slightly. That ferocious beast was truly terrifying. It was actually suppressing the Qianshan Old Ancestor to the point where he could barely breathe. At this moment, he really wanted to kill Yang Hongwu. However, he restrained himself because he couldn't see through this brat. It wasn't because of his cultivation, but because this brat was too mysterious. Although his cultivation was only at the Emperor Realm, he had such a terrifying beast. Furthermore, he didn't panic at all when he saw the Black Fiend Patriarch appear. In fact, he was even absorbing the surrounding baleful aura. The baleful aura in the surroundings didn't affect him at all. Instead, it was being refined by him. Just this point alone was extremely frightening. Although he could also absorb the baleful aura, he couldn't do it as recklessly as Yang Hongwu. Moreover, Patriarch Qianshan had already asked him for help. If he ignored Patriarch Qianshan and didn't help him, Patriarch Qianshan would probably turn around and leave. At that time, he wouldn't be able to fight against that terrifying beast alone. Little bastard, you'll die after I deal with that beast. The Black Fiend Patriarch glared at Yang Hongwu and said coldly. After saying that, he rushed towards the Heavenly Destruction Spider. Young Master, what should we do now? Tai Talong asked. Now, the Black Demon Patriarch had risked universal condemnation and destroyed the barrier between the Black Demon Abyss and the sky-reaching land, releasing the evil chi of the entire Black Demon Abyss. If this matter spread out, it would be a huge blow to the Black Demon Patriarch. If this barrier was not repaired, perhaps the Black Demon Patriarch would become the enemy of the entire sky-reaching land. Let's wait and see. Yang Hongwu narrowed his eyes. The Black Fiend Patriarch and Patriarch Qianshan were both half-step Tao Lords. Their strength was indeed terrifying. However, he wasn't afraid because the Heavenly Destruction Spider's puppet talisman was at its peak. Therefore, Yang Hongwu wasn't too worried. In fact, Yang Hongwu didn't want to give up on the talisman. Otherwise, he could enter the Black Fiend Abyss directly. After entering the Black Fiend Abyss, the Heavenly Destruction Spider could hold back Patriarch Qianshan and Patriarch Black Fiend. Therefore, leaving wouldn't be a problem. However, it would be a pity if a puppet with the potential to become a Tao Lord was destroyed just like that. That was why Yang Hongwu wanted to see if there was a way to take the Heavenly Annihilation Spider away. Originally, Ancestor Qianshan was being suppressed by the Heavenly Destruction Spider. If this continued, Ancestor Qianshan would definitely be severely injured. If he continued to fight, he might even be killed. After all, he was only a half-step Tao Lord and not a true Tao Lord. He could still be killed in front of a powerful opponent. However, he was not like a Tao Lord who could not be killed. Young Master, why don't you let the three of us go? If we join forces with the puppet, we can still fight against the Black Fiend Patriarch and Patriarch Qianshan. The tribe is at a disadvantage, Tai Tulong said. Yang Hongwu shook his head. There's no need. Let's go. He wanted to give it a try. However, after thinking about it, they wouldn't be able to kill the Heavenly Destruction Spider in a short period of time. As long as the Heavenly Destruction Spider received his command, it could leave immediately. Seeing Yang Hongwu trying to escape, the Black Fiend Patriarch's expression changed. He wasn't willing to let Yang Hongwu go. Chapter 1966. That little bastard is about to escape. Old Ancestor Qianshan, help me restrain the spider. I'll go catch that little bastard. Old Ancestor Black Demon said. Don't chase. Old Ancestor Qianshan's face changed. Now that Yang Hongwu was about to leave, the heaven-destroying spider would naturally become stronger and launch more attacks. If Old Ancestor Qianshan was alone, he wouldn't be able to defend against it. Even if he wouldn't be killed, he would definitely be severely injured. He wasn't willing to pay such a huge price just to delay the heaven-destroying spider. Hold on for a while. Old Ancestor Qianshan, you just need to hold on for 20 breaths. 20 breaths, and I'll be able to catch that little bastard. Old Ancestor Black Demon said. No, it's too dangerous. Let alone 20 breaths. Even 10 breaths is too much. Old Ancestor Qianshan shook his head. As long as you help me stall for time, I'll give you a Tao Grey Divine Pill. Old Ancestor Black Demon gritted his teeth and said, Tao Grey Divine Pill? Old Ancestor Qianshan's eyes lit up. You have a Tao Grey Divine Pill? He didn't believe it. A Tao Grey Divine Pill was extremely rare. A Tao Grey Divine Pill could help a half-step Tao Lord increase the chances of breaking through to the Tao Lord realm. Generally speaking, the chances of breaking through to the Tao Lord realm were too low. However, if one had a Tao pill, the chances of breaking through would increase to 50%. That was a 50% chance. This was already a very high probability. If it was just a Tao core, then many people would be willing to pay a huge price. After all, for them, the success rate of breaking through to the Tao Lord realm was less than 20%. On the other hand, a Tao core could increase the probability of success from 20% to 50%. This probability was quite high. Of course, no one in the sky-reaching continent could refine a Tao pill. True Tao pills would only appear in some ancient ruins or secret realms. This Tao core should be very important to the Black Demon Patriarch. Why would he pay such a huge price to stall the heavenly destroying spider? This made Old Ancestor Qianshan suspicious. After all, this was a Tao pill, not an ordinary pill. Even an ordinary peerless divine medicine couldn't compare to a Tao pill. If it was anyone else, it was absolutely impossible for them to give up such a medicinal pill unless they had more than one Tao pill. Although he had some doubts, the temptation of Tao pills was too great. All right, I promise you. As soon as Qianshan Patriarch finished speaking, the Black Demon Patriarch quickly teleported towards Yang Hongwu. His speed was extremely shocking. In the blink of an eye, he appeared in front of Yang Hongwu and the others, blocking their way. Looking at how the Black Demon Grandmaster was behaving, Yang Hongwu narrowed his eyes. Seemed like this old man had a huge grudge against him. He actually ignored the heavenly destruction spider and directly came to find trouble with him. Moreover, he should have used a talisman just now. Moreover, it was a very powerful spatial talisman. Otherwise, he would definitely have sensed it. To be able to appear in front of him without him noticing, it could be seen that the grade of this talisman was definitely not bad. Little B asterisk starred, go to hell. The Black Demon Patriarch grabbed at Yang Hongwu and the others, his eyes filled with killing intent. On the other side, Qianshan Patriarch was holding back the heavenly destruction spider. Even though he wasn't a match for the Black Demon Patriarch and was being suppressed badly, he still managed to hold back the heavenly destruction spider so that it couldn't come to his aid. However, Yang Hongwu wasn't afraid. Even though the Black Demon Patriarch was strong and was a half-step Tao Lord, his state of mind was in a mess right now. Furthermore, he must have suffered a backlash after his clone was killed by Yang Hongwu earlier on. Therefore, he was in his peak state right now. Even if he was at his peak state, Yang Hongwu wouldn't be afraid. "Young master, let us hold him back." Tai Tulong looked at the Black Demon Patriarch and knew that this was an unavoidable battle. Since it was unavoidable, they had to fight. At this moment, Tai Tulong's battle intent was blazing. So was Shan Hai Guanyue. They had never fought a half-step Dao Lord head-on before. They knew that half-step Dao Lords were extremely strong, but they had never tried it out. Now that they were going to fight a half-step Dao Lord head-on, they were looking forward to it. He wanted to see for himself just how powerful a half-step Dao Lord was. Here are 2 pills. They can restore your cultivation base to your peak state. Yang Hongwu took out 2 pills. These pills were extremely precious. Yang Hongwu had specially refined them for use at a critical moment after entering the Black Fiend Abyss. However, since they were already at this stage, there was no harm in using them. As for the pills, he could refine them at any time. It would just take some time. It wasn't a big problem at all. "Thank you, young master." Seeing Yang Hongwu take out such a pill, one could tell that it was a peerless god pill. No one in the sky-reaching continent could concoct such a pill. Therefore, peerless god pills were extremely precious. The 2 of them didn't hesitate to consume the pills. They weren't worried that Yang Hongwu would plot against them. If Yang Hongwu wanted to deal with them, he wouldn't have to resort to such means. After consuming the pills, their auras instantly rose and returned to their peak state. Moreover, they were only a step away from becoming half-step Dao Lords. "Black Fiend Old Ghost, your time has come. How dare you attack the young master? You're courting death." Tai Tulong and the other 2 shouted and charged towards the Black Fiend Patriarch. Ants. The Black Fiend Patriarch was surprised to see both Tai Tulong and Mountain Sea Watcher's auras reach new heights, but he wasn't afraid. He was a half-step Dao Lord. Although these 2 had reached the late-stage Hegemin level and were only a step away from peak-stage Hegemins, they still weren't strong enough to deal with him. The difference between half-step Dao Lords and Hegemins wasn't that great, but that small difference was enough to make a huge difference in combat power. The Black Fiend Patriarch clenched his fist and punched out. An incomparably strong fist energy flew towards the 3 of them. He didn't have much time. The 3 of them were strong enough to pin him down. Therefore, the Black Fiend Patriarch's goal wasn't to kill Tai Tulong and the other 2, but to force them back and then capture Yang Hongwu. That was his goal. However, was Yang Hongwu that easy to capture? Tai Tulong and the other 2 didn't know the Black Fiend Patriarch's goal. Seeing the Black Fiend Patriarch's aggressive aura, they instantly dodged the attack. However, they didn't expect that the Black Fiend Patriarch would turn around and charge towards Yang Hongwu. "Little bastard, your time has come." Chapter 1967. Yang Hongwu sneered, "Old geezer, you're not strong enough to deal with me. A half-step Dao Lord is far from enough." With that, Yang Hongwu used the Void Traversal technique and instantly disappeared. This time, he easily dodged the Black Demon Patriarch's attack. This scene caused the Black Demon Patriarch's eyes to widen in disbelief. This brat was able to dodge his attack with ease. This was the Tao of spatial teleportation. This little animal had a lot of escape methods. Moreover, he wasn't alone, but could bring others with him. This wasn't simple at all. He had a teleportation talisman, so he could bring others with him. However, he could only bring one person with him. More than one person would be affected and their location would deviate. In the worst-case scenario, they might even get lost in the void. That would be troublesome. "Little animal, I was careless. I didn't expect you to have a teleportation talisman. However, these talismans are extremely precious. How many do you have?" The forefather lunged for Yang Hongwu's group again. This time, he used his powerful energy to seal off the surrounding space. The surrounding space had been sealed. As long as there was a slight spatial fluctuation, he would be able to sense it and chase after it instantly. Yang Hongwu chuckled. "You can try. I can teleport at will. However, Qinshan Ancestor won't be able to stop it. When he dies, you'll die too. Don't be arrogant, little animal. It's easy to catch you. I'll deal with that beast after I catch you and deal with you." The Black Demon Old Ancestor was also very anxious. Yang Hongwu was right. Although Qianqian Old Ancestor was strong, he was not a match for the destructive heavenly spider alone. If this continued, Qianqian Old Ancestor would really be in danger of dying. Once he encountered such danger, Qianqian Old Ancestor would not risk his life to resist the destructive heavenly spider. Once Qianqian Old Ancestor escaped, he would definitely not be able to resist the destructive heavenly spider alone. Therefore, he did not have much time, only 20 breaths. Now, almost 10 breaths had passed. This meant that he only had one chance left. Seal. The Black Fiend Patriarch took out another treasure. It was a sealing bead that could seal off an area of space. It was so powerful that it could even seal a Tao Lord expert. He had used it when he was in the Black Fiend realm. This was one of the most precious treasures he obtained from the Abyss. He obtained 3 supreme treasures from a ruin in Black Fiend Abyss. One of them was a Tao core. The second was this sealing bead. After using the Forbidden Pearl once, it would run out of energy and would not be able to be used for 10,000 years. However, it was still very powerful. Once it sealed space, even a half-step Tao Lord would not be able to escape. It could even seal Tao Lord Zhenzhen. Tao Lord. This sealing bead was one of his greatest trump cards. He wouldn't use it unless it was a critical moment. Originally, he didn't plan to use this supreme treasure. If he wasn't so angry, he wouldn't have taken it out. He knew very well that if he didn't capture or kill Yang Hongwu now, he would develop inner demons and his thoughts wouldn't be clear. He would never have the chance to break through the bottleneck and enter the Tao Lord realm. Because of this, he had no choice. That was why he had paid such a huge price to capture Yang Hongwu and kill him at all costs. Not good. The moment the Black Fiend Patriarch used the sealing bead, Yang Hongwu felt a great sense of danger. As expected, when he wanted to use the void travel secret technique to teleport out, it was already too late. Yang Hongwu didn't think too much about it. With a thought, he kept the 2 women in his common people's great world. The 2 women's strength was definitely not enough to deal with the Black Fiend Patriarch. After all, he was a half-step Tao Lord. Little bastard, you can't escape now, right? Seeing Yang Hongwu's expression change drastically, he sensed that Yang Hongwu wanted to teleport away. However, the space was sealed by him. Even a Tao Lord couldn't escape, let alone a mere Emperor Realm martial artist. How could an Emperor Realm martial artist escape? Old thing, do you think you could defeat me by sealing this space? Yang Hongwu looked at the Black Demon Patriarch. He had to admit that after this old man sealed this space, he couldn't even leave. This made Yang Hongwu a little worried. After all, his 9 Heavens Divine Dragon technique had already reached an extremely high level. In addition, his cultivation base had already reached the Imperial Emperor realm. Although he was still far from reaching the Sovereign realm, his cultivation base had already reached the Imperial Emperor realm. After reaching the Emperor realm, it could be said that no one below the Tao Lord realm could threaten him. However, this time his void travel secret technique had failed. In the past, it was understandable that he had failed to travel through space due to his lack of strength. However, this time, his failure brought him the greatest danger. This was because there was a terrifying enemy in this space, a half-step Tao Lord. Kid, use whatever tricks you have. Today, you'll definitely die. The Black Fiend Patriarch said coldly. Yang Hongwu looked at the Black Fiend Patriarch and said, I'm curious. Why would you pay such a huge price to kill me? You must have paid a great price to seal this space, right? Moreover, you asked Old Ancestor Qianqian to block my puppet talisman. To Old Ancestor Qianqian, this is a great danger. He might even lose his life. Even if he doesn't die, he will be seriously injured. If you don't have enough benefits, he won't agree. The hatred between us is far from enough. Even if your own son, your own parents, and your entire clan were wiped out by me, it wouldn't be enough for you to pay such a huge price, let alone a mere descendant and an incarnation. What Yang Hongwu said was true. When one's cultivation base reached the Black Demon Patriarch's level, they would never care about familial ties. Based on the Black Demon Patriarch's baleful aura and ferocious aura, one could tell what cultivation technique he cultivated. There was no such thing as family ties. As for the death of an incarnation, it was true that he wouldn't pay such a huge price. However, Yang Hongwu soon understood. This old man was at a critical juncture in his breakthrough. Killing his incarnation had probably hindered his breakthrough. Moreover, there seemed to be some secret in Black Fiend Town that was the key to his breakthrough. Therefore, Lin Fan had probably ruined his breakthrough. His fortuitous encounter made it impossible for him to break through. Therefore, he hated Yi Fuqian to the core and wanted to kill him no matter the cost. Chapter 1968. What surprised the Black Fiend Patriarch the most was that his attack had struck Yang Hongwu directly. It was as if Yang Hongwu could not resist at all. Under the full force of the Black Fiend Patriarch's attack, Yang Hongwu's body vanished into thin air and turned into nothingness. He died so easily. The Black Fiend Patriarch stared at Yang Hongwu's disappearing figure in disbelief. He had a bad feeling. Yang Hongwu had many trump cards, but he had been killed so easily. The Black Fiend Patriarch could not believe that he had been killed so easily. If it had been an ordinary emperor, it was possible that he would have been turned into dust by such a powerful attack. This was very normal. However, Yang Hongwu was too strong. He had been able to fight against the Black Fiend Patriarch earlier. Now, he had been killed with a single attack. Naturally, the Black Fiend Patriarch could not believe it. Black Fiend Patriarch, come and help me. I can't hold on any longer, Patriarch Qianshin shouted from the other side. At this moment, the Black Fiend Patriarch could not care less. After all, he had locked onto Yang Hongwu's aura. Moreover, this space had been completely sealed. No one could escape. Furthermore, there was no trace of Yang Hongwu's aura in this space. This proved that he had indeed been killed. Furthermore, Patriarch Qianshin was indeed being suppressed to the point that he could not breathe. If he did not go over now, Patriarch Qianshin might very well be killed. In fact, the Black Fiend Patriarch had originally planned to kill Patriarch Qianshin after he had dealt with Yang Hongwu. This was because he did not want to hand over the Tao core that he had obtained with great difficulty to Patriarch Qianshin. That was for him to break through to the Tao realm. He had prepared it for the Monarch realm. However, if Patriarch Qianshin were to fight the heaven-destroying spider head-on and be killed by the heaven-destroying spider, the Black Fiend Patriarch was not confident that he could kill the heaven-destroying spider alone. Therefore, he had to join forces with Patriarch Qianshin to kill the heaven-destroying spider first. Only the heaven-destroying spider. After killing the heaven-destroying spider, he would kill Patriarch Qianshin. His thoughts and calculations were good. However, as good as they were, reality was cruel. He would not get what he wanted. When he removed the spatial seal and saw a person in the outside world, he was stunned. This was simply unbelievable. That was Yang Hongwu. He actually didn't die. Impossible, Yu. He looked at Yang Hongwu pointing at him, his hand trembling. He was completely stunned. Old thing, I've said it before. You're not qualified to kill me. You won't be able to kill me. Yang Hongwu sneered. Although your strength is not bad, you still haven't reached the Tao Monarch realm. If you were a Tao Monarch realm expert, then perhaps he really is capable of killing me, but a mere half-step Tao Lord won't be able to. Black Fiend Patriarch, come and help. At this moment, old ancestor Qianshin cried for help again. He was already injured. If this continued, he would be seriously injured. Ancestor Qianshin, hold him back for a while longer. I'll come after killing this little bastard. After hearing this, the Black Fiend Patriarch's eyes flashed coldly. He was furious. If he didn't kill Yang Hongwu, he wouldn't be able to get rid of his thoughts. Yang Hongwu had completely become his heart demon. His eyes turned red as he glared at Yang Hongwu. Little bastard, I don't care how you escaped or how you avoided my attack. But now you must die. If I don't kill you, I'm not the Black Fiend Patriarch. After letting out a roar, the evil black ancestor's aura surged violently. He was like a devil from the 9 Serenities hell. He rushed towards Yang Hongwu in a menacing manner. Everything in his path was destroyed. His strength was terrifying. His entire being had transformed into a giant beast. This was a sign that he was about to turn into a demon. In the distance, old ancestor Qianshin, who was bitterly resisting the heaven-destroying spider, saw this scene and his expression changed. He never expected that the Black Fiend Patriarch would lose his mind and turn into a demon. How was he supposed to fight now? Once the Black Fiend Patriarch turned into a demon, it wouldn't do him any good. Even if he killed this terrifying beast, he wouldn't be able to get his hands on that Dao core. Damn it! Old Ancestor Qianshan cursed in his heart. Since there was no point in continuing the fight with the heaven-destroying spider, there was no need for him to stay and fight anymore. At the thought of this, the old ancestor Qianshan gritted his teeth and took out a talisman. The talisman shone brightly and enveloped him within it. In the next moment, the old ancestor Qianshan was transported away. After receiving Yang Hongwu's orders, the heaven-destroying spider did not chase after the old ancestor Qianshan. To the old ancestor Qianshan, this was a huge loss. Not only was he injured, but he had also used up a few of his trump cards. Even worse, he couldn't get what he wanted. That was a Dao core. It was a pity that there was no way he could get it now. Unless the wretched Black Fiend Patriarch and that brat were both severely injured, or if he was severely injured after killing that brat, he would have a chance to kill the wretched Black Fiend Patriarch and snatch that Dao core. Therefore, even though the old ancestor Qianshan had retreated and left the battlefield, he was still observing from afar. He did not leave for real because of this. Instead, he was looking for an opportunity. Naturally, the old ancestor Qianshan's observation from afar couldn't escape Yang Hongwu's eyes. Furthermore, Yang Hongwu knew what the old ancestor Qianshan was thinking. This old thing wanted to be a fisherman. He wanted to reap the benefits after both Lin Fan and the wretched Black Fiend Patriarch were injured. However, there was no such thing as a free lunch in this world. Yang Hongwu's lips curled into a smile. To him, the most important thing right now was to deal with the wretched Black Fiend Patriarch. Previously, he was almost tricked by the wretched Black Fiend Patriarch. One should know that the wretched Black Fiend Patriarch's forbidden pearl was indeed terrifying. Once it sealed the space, even he couldn't escape. This forbidden pearl really made Yang Hongwu very jealous. It was too powerful. If he hadn't been careful and used the 1 Qi into 3 Pure 1 secret technique to leave a clone in the outside world, he would have been killed by the wretched Black Fiend Patriarch. After knowing that he couldn't break out of the wretched Black Fiend Patriarch space, Yang Hongwu immediately used the 1 Qi into 3 Pure 1 secret technique to switch between his original body and his clone. His original body was switched to the outside world, while his clone appeared in the space of the Forbidden Pearl. It was killed by the wretched Black Fiend Patriarch and turned into nothingness. Although Yang Hongwu had to pay a hefty price, it wasn't too great. It was completely acceptable. Wretched Black Fiend Patriarch, it's time for you to die. A cold light shot out from Yang Hongwu's eyes. The destructive heavenly spider charged forward ferociously and clashed with the wretched Black Fiend Patriarch. After exiting the Forbidden Pearl, Yang Hongwu had already set up another formation. At this moment, the wretched Black Fiend Patriarch was facing the encirclement of Yang Hongwu and the others. One of them was the destructive heavenly spider, which was the main force. The other was Tai Tulong and the other two. Although their strength hadn't reached the half-step Dao Lord realm, their combat strength was still very strong. Their strength couldn't be underestimated. Chapter 1969. At this moment, the fiend Black Ancestor had lost his mind. Even though he could sense the danger, he didn't care about it at all. He attacked crazily as though he didn't care about his life anymore. Yang Hongwu sneered. Although this old man's strength had increased after he turned into a demon, and he was infinitely close to the realm of Dao Lord. In fact, the threat he posed was much weaker than when he was conscious. Moreover, he was now in his formation, which posed a great threat to the demon. Under such suppression, the Black Demon Patriarch couldn't display his peak strength at all. His strength was equivalent to his peak strength at most. 80%. This meant that his strength was suppressed by 20%. Wah, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to tear you into pieces. The fiend Black Ancestor yelled in anger after his attack was dodged by Yang Hongwu. Qianshan Old Ancestor, who was watching this scene from afar, was extremely shocked. This brat's strength was truly terrifying. He was actually able to resist the black demon old ancestor, who was on the verge of turning into a demon. Moreover, the black demon old ancestor's strength was extremely terrifying. This showed how terrifying his strength was. In his opinion, he would never dare to confront the black demon patriarch in such a state. He knew that he was no match for the black demon patriarch. The strength of the black demon patriarch, who was almost possessed by the devil, was enough to contend with the heavenly destruction spider. Even so, Qinshan old ancestor knew that the fiend black ancestor had no chance of winning. Yang Hongwu was already so strong, let alone the heavenly destruction spider. The heavenly destruction spider's strength was terrifying. Otherwise, the fiend black ancestor wouldn't have run away. It's impossible to kill me. Heavenly destruction spider, kill him for me. Yang Hongwu snorted. At this moment, the heavenly destruction spider entered the battlefield. The heavenly destruction spider wasn't suppressed by the formation. It was Yang Hongwu's puppet. Not only that, it was like a fish in water. With the help of the formation, the heavenly destruction spider's strength was even more terrifying. Qinshan old ancestor wasn't the only one who was shocked. Even Dao Monarch Darkness and Tai Tulong were shocked. This formation was truly too powerful, too terrifying. Yang Hongwu was also a terrifying array master. Not only that, Tai Tulong and the other man had also obtained some pills. This meant that Yang Hongwu was not only a powerful array master, but also an extremely respected alchemist. Moreover, Yang Hongwu's talent in fighting and cultivation was so fierce that it could be said that no one could compare to him. Could it be that he was the legendary son of the great Dao? Even the legendary Dao Lord Jiga probably wasn't this savage when he was at this age. Under normal circumstances, if the other party had extremely high attainments in alchemy or formations, then there would be a certain gap between them and the other geniuses in terms of cultivation and combat. However, Yang Hong was different from the other geniuses in terms of alchemy or formations. Marshall did not have such a situation, which was the most terrifying thing about him. Moreover, Yang Hongwu didn't have the slightest bit of worry when he was fighting with the fiend black ancestor. It was as though everything was under his control. It was as though he didn't care about any accidents. A person like him was too confident. Ordinary people wouldn't be able to do this. Only under absolute strength could one be so confident. As soon as the heavenly destruction spider entered the battlefield, the fiend black ancestor was suppressed to the point where he couldn't breathe. Firstly, it was the suppression of the formation. This was a demon extermination formation. After the fiend black ancestor had turned into a demon, the suppression of this formation had reached a terrifying level. Coupled with Yang Hongwu's continuous attacks, the fiend black ancestor couldn't defend himself at all. With the heavenly destruction spider as the main attacker, the fiend black ancestor couldn't defend himself at all. Not long after, the evil black ancestor was pushed to a corner. At this time, he had consumed a lot of energy and his devil chi was gradually suppressed. Because of this, the evil black ancestor gradually regained his consciousness. However, after regaining his consciousness, once he regained his consciousness, the fiend black ancestor looked at Yang Hongwu and the terrifying heavenly destruction spider with an ugly expression. Damn it! The fiend black ancestor looked at Yang Hongwu and the heavenly destruction spider that was coming at him aggressively. He realized that he was in grave danger this time. If this continued, he would probably die here. Fiend black ancestor. He didn't see Qinshan ancestor, but he knew that it was because he had lost his mind after turning into a demon. Qinshan ancestor wasn't a fool. Since he knew that he wasn't a match for fiend black ancestor, why would he stay here? Yang Hongwu, right? The fiend black ancestor looked at Yang Hongwu and said, "Stop." "Why should I stop?" Yang Hongwu said coldly. This guy had wasted his time and caused him to expend a lot of energy. In fact, the destructive sky spider was a very powerful trump card. If he could keep it in the black fiend abyss, he would have used it. If he could have kept it, it would have been a huge killing weapon. But now, after using this killing weapon, there was no other way to enter the black fiend abyss. It might even cause this killing weapon to dissipate directly. After all, the heavenly destroying spider had already reached its limit. If not for that, it would have been impossible. If it only had one strand of creation chi, the heavenly destruction spider wouldn't have lasted so long. Originally, Yang Hongwu wanted to keep the heavenly destruction spider and repair the puppet talisman in the future. He could even raise it to the Tao Lord level. However, because of the fiend Black Ancestor, he couldn't restore the heavenly destruction spider to the Tao Lord level. Even if he could restore it to the half-step Tao Lord level, it would be very difficult. Even if he could do it, he would have to pay a huge price. Therefore, how could Yang Hongwu stop now? Kill. If it wasn't for you, I might have found what I needed. You're the one who stopped me and wasted my time. Moreover, you've consumed a lot of my energy. Therefore, you must die here today. Yang Hongwu no longer concealed his killing intent. Wait. Seeing that Yang Hongwu was about to make a move, the fiend Black Ancestor hurriedly said, "What do you need? I can help you find it. I can also compensate you for your losses." At this moment, the fiend Black Ancestor was terrified. He was completely terrified. How could he still have the thought of killing Yang Hongwu? Although it was important for him to break through, what else could he do if he lost his life? Chapter 1970. The Planar Boat. The Black Demon Patriarch was dumbfounded when he heard this. He had encountered a fragment of the planar boat before. It was found on the body of a black dragon. However, the black dragon wasn't weak. Although he could kill the black dragon, he would have to pay a high price. Moreover, it was only a fragment of the planar boat. If it was the real planar boat, he could try to kill the black dragon and seize the fragment of the planar boat. However, the black dragon wasn't weak. However, it was only a fragment of the planar boat that the Black Demon Patriarch didn't take it to heart. However, Yang Hongwu wanted the fragment of the planar boat. What? You don't have it? If you don't have it, then you can die. Yang Hongwu's eyes flashed with killing intent. He had wasted too much time this time. If he continued, he didn't know how much more time he would waste. After all, he couldn't directly find a fragment of the planar boat after entering the Black Demon Abyss. Although I don't have the fragment of the planar boat, I know who has it, the Black Demon Patriarch said hurriedly. Who has it? Yang Hongwu asked. How can I believe you? You don't have a choice. Yang Hongwu said coldly. If he didn't have information about the fragment of the planar boat, Yang Hongwu wouldn't hesitate to kill him. Fine. The Black Fiend Patriarch was furious, but there was nothing he could do. Let me tell you something. The fragment of the planar boat is in the Black Fiend Abyss. It's in the possession of a peak sovereign realm exotic beast. That exotic beast's strength has most likely reached the half-step Tao realm. It's very difficult to kill that strange beast when it's in the monarch realm. What strange beast? Yang Hongwu asked. It's a black dragon, the Black Demon Patriarch said. I've said what I need to say. Can you release the formation now? It's meaningless. Yang Hongwu narrowed his eyes and turned to leave. However, the puppet talisman turned into the sky-destroying spider and released a terrifying aura. The Black Demon Patriarch's expression changed. No, you can't do that. The Black Demon Patriarch wasn't a fool. At this moment, he sensed fatal danger. However, it was already too late. He frantically tried to break the formation, but it was all in vain. At this moment, the heavenly destruction spider self-destructed. The terrifying energy instantly exploded. After a muffled sound, the entire Black Demon town started to shake. If it weren't for the special materials used to construct the Black Evil Town and the many restrictions and formations set up, the entire Black Evil Town would have disappeared. Even so, more than half of Black Demon Town was destroyed. As for the Black Demon Patriarch, he was killed by the explosion. A half-step Tao Lord had actually died in such a humiliating manner. When Patriarch Thousand God saw this from afar, he couldn't help but gulp. Terrifying. His opponent's power was simply too terrifying. He was actually able to force a powerful creature like the Annihilation Spider to self-detonate. That was a half-step Tao Lord. A half-step Tao Lord. Even if more half-step Tao Lords came, they still wouldn't be able to stop him. If he hadn't left immediately, he would have been the one dead. However, at this time, he was not in a hurry to leave. This might be an opportunity for him. The destructive heavenly spider was gone. That brat's strength was not bad, and his formation was also powerful. However, he couldn't possibly not consume anything. This was really a great opportunity. This brat had too many trump cards, and his background was definitely not simple. He must have many treasures on him, not to mention other things. Just the secret technique that allowed him to suddenly disappear was already very impressive. He could clearly feel it. That was definitely not a space talisman. After all, if it was a space talisman, there would still be traces left behind. However, Yang Hongwu's sudden disappearance left no traces behind. In this case, he must have used some kind of powerful mystic technique. If he could obtain it, his strength would increase tremendously. Imagine if you were to suddenly appear behind your opponent in the middle of a battle. How terrifying would that be if you were to suddenly appear in front of your opponent without the enemy attacking you? At the very least, in Patriarch Thousand God's opinion, he definitely wouldn't be able to withstand it. It was so sudden that he couldn't react in time. Unless he had a strong defense, he would be severely injured even if he didn't die. At the thought of this, Patriarch Thousand God made his move. He sneaked towards Yang Hongwu's location. In fact, Yang Hongwu had already discovered that Patriarch Thousand God was still hiding in the dark. How could it be so easy to be the fisherman? However, Yang Hongwu didn't warn Tai Tulong and the others. At this moment, Tai Tulong and the other two were still in shock. After all, a half-step Dao Lord was killed just like that. Yang Hongwu was too cruel. Generally speaking, half-step Dao Lords were able to escape in a battle even if they couldn't win. However, this time, an extremely powerful half-step Dao Lord like the Fiend Black Patriarch was beaten to death. However, the price he paid was huge. In fact, it was equivalent to using a powerful half-step Dao Lord to perish together with the Fiend Black Patriarch. Moreover, this half-step Dao Lord was able to suppress the Fiend Black Patriarch's strength. Compared to the Fiend Black Patriarch, Yang Hongwu was still at a disadvantage. Of course, Tai Tulong and the others did not know that the Heavenly Destruction Spider was merely a puppet talisman. Although it was powerful, it could only be used once. After that, it could not be used again. If that was the case, if it was really a powerful battle pet, Yang Hongwu wouldn't be so foolish to let it perish together with the Fiend Black Patriarch. That would be foolish. Unless it was a last resort, there was no need to do so. If not, there was no need to do so. Die. At this time, Qinshan Old Ancestor appeared. His target was not Yang Hongwu, but Tai Tulong and the other two beside Yang Hongwu. His goal was to kill Tai Tulong and the other two, because Tai Tulong and the other two were very strong. Although he was strong alone, he had expended too much energy and was injured. If the three of them worked together, they could still stop him. Yang Hongwu, who was only in the Sovereign Emperor realm, had an unfathomable combat strength. Chapter 1971. Not good. I've been tricked by this little degenerate. Old Master Qinshan's face changed instantly. He knew that things were going to get troublesome. After missing his attack, Old Master Qinshan prepared to retreat. However, Yang Hongwu wasn't going to let him off that easily. Old fogey, since you're here, don't think about leaving. Looking at Old Master Qinshan, Yang Hongwu's lips curled into a smile. Waving his hand, a terrifying power burst forth and sent Old Master Qinshan flying. Even though this attack didn't injure him, it was still a powerful attack. Old Master Qinshan's face changed immediately. He realized that he was being controlled and couldn't leave this place at all. Formation. Damn it. When did you set up a formation? Old Master Qinshan glared at Yang Hongwu with a death glare. The strength of a formation as such was way too creepy and horrifying. To think that he would be able to set up a formation without anyone noticing. He had been watching the entire time, and yet he had no idea when Lin Fan had set up the formation. This was the scariest part. Against an enemy like this, anyone would have a headache. No one would want to fall into the trap of the other party's formation in the middle of a battle and be at a disadvantage. The only exception would be if they were strong enough. Furthermore, they were much stronger than the other party. Before the other party could even react, they could kill the other party. That was the scariest part of it. Therefore, no one would want to make an enemy out of someone like this. At this moment, old Master Chinchin's heart was bitter. He had been too careless. He had thought that he would definitely be able to suppress the other party with his strength. Even if Tai Tulong and the other two were to join forces, they wouldn't be a match for him. However, the problem was that he had not expected Yang Hongwu to be able to set up a formation without him noticing. Attack! Attack together! Kill this fella! Tai Tulong yelled out. Kill! It was the same for Shan Hai Guan Yue and Lin Fan. The three of them bolted towards old Master Qianshan. Damn it! You guys want to kill me? Dream on! Old Master Qianshan roared out. With a single strike, he sent Tai Tulong and the other two flying. His cultivation state was a half-step Dao Lord, and he was extremely strong. Even Tai Tulong and the other two couldn't defend against him. What power! He truly lives up to his reputation as a half-step Dao Lord. Tai Tulong's eyes were blazing with the flames of battle. If he wanted to make a breakthrough, perhaps battling against a half-step Dao Lord would give him a chance to do so. The same was true for Mountain Sea Watcher. And so, fight! 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 Tai Tulong and the other two simultaneously let out furious roars as they once more charged towards Patriarch Qianshan. The three of them were eager to do battle, but Patriarch Qianshan wasn't. Although he was a half-step Dao Lord and was much stronger than his foes, he was still far weaker than them. He didn't have the heart to fight to the death. He just wanted to escape. His main purpose was to break this sealed space and the formation. If the formation was not broken, he would be suppressed. In addition, Yang Hongwu had not made a move yet. Yang Hongwu was the one who worried him the most. He thought that although Yang Hongwu was strong, he wouldn't be so terrifying. However, Yang Hongwu hadn't made a move yet. Moreover, from the look in his eyes, it seemed like victory was already in his grasp. This made Tai Tulong extremely afraid. Could it be that this guy still had a powerful trump card? If another terrifying beast appeared, then he would be completely screwed. Although the possibility of that happening wasn't high, he still had to be careful. Although you're strong, you're still no match for me. After sending Tai Tulong and the other two flying once more, Patriarch Qianshan looked at Yang Hongwu and said, Yang Hongwu, open the formation and let me go. You're too naive. Yang Hongwu said coldly. You have a close relationship with the Black Fiend Patriarch. Since you're here, there's no need for you to leave. If you left directly, I wouldn't have wasted time looking for you. However, you're courting death. Of course, I'll fulfill your wish. If you choose to kill yourself, I'll leave you with an intact corpse and a chance for you to reincarnate. Kid, you sure talk big. Do you really think you can take me down? Patriarch Qianshan was furious. This kid dared to be so arrogant. How hateful. Do you really think you're invincible after killing the Black Fiend Patriarch? Then you're underestimating me. A half-step Dao Lord isn't someone a mere sovereign emperor like you can underestimate. You were able to kill the Black Fiend Patriarch because he was too careless. Otherwise, you wouldn't have been able to kill him at all. Moreover, you were able to kill him. Besides, you may have killed him, but you've exhausted a powerful beast. Now you want to kill me? Unless you have another terrifying beast, you won't be able to kill me. If you can't kill me, I'll kill you. Ferocious, ferocious. Patriarch Qianshan was furious. He was relying on his high cultivation base. Once they started fighting, he would definitely be able to last longer than his opponent. Therefore, he only needed to wait for his opponent to exhaust too much of his energy before killing him. However, he knew very well that the possibility of that happening wasn't too great. He was inside the formation. If he couldn't break the formation, he would be in great danger. Moreover, he didn't think that Yang Hongwu's formation was only defensive and could only trap him here. How could a person with such terrifying attainments in array formations only be able to set up defensive array formations? Therefore, this was absolutely unrealistic. The formation in front of him was what he was most worried about. If it wasn't, Patriarch Qianshan wouldn't be afraid. Even if he couldn't win, he could definitely escape. You want to kill me? Let's see how you're going to kill me. Yang Hongwu sneered. He waved his hand and the sky changed. It became gloomy, and a terrifying aura enveloped Patriarch Qianshan. He frowned as he naturally noticed this. Moreover, what shocked him even more was that his cultivation was actually being suppressed. This also meant that he was unable to unleash his full strength right now, even though his cultivation was only being suppressed by a small portion of it. Although it was suppressed, it still worried him. At this moment, he realized that he was on the verge of death. This was the biggest threat he had ever faced in his life. Rumble. At this moment, terrifying bolts of lightning descended from the sky. These bolts of lightning were the Great Tao lightning tribulations. Patriarch Qianshan was terrified when he saw this. Chapter 1972. Little bastard, you can't kill me. Qianshan Ancestor was enraged by the lightning tribulation, but there was nothing he could do. He could only roar. He couldn't do anything to Yang Hongwu. All he could do now was to resist the lightning tribulation. Is that so? Try this then. Yang Hongwu snorted coldly. The entire space turned into a huge furnace, filled with raging karmic fire. This wasn't an ordinary fire, it was the terrifying red Luan karmic fire. In addition, the devouring power of the furnace was madly devouring the power of Qianshan Ancestor. Qianshan Ancestor was already suppressed in the formation. Coupled with the attack of the thunder tribulation just now, he couldn't withstand it anymore. This time, his spiritual energy was being devoured bit by bit. His life was about to be devoured. Are you forcing me? Qianshan Ancestor sensed that he was on the verge of death. You want to self-destruct? Yang Hongwu laughed. He could see through Qianshan Ancestor's intentions. He wanted to threaten Yang Hongwu with self-destruction, but in reality, such a threat was useless against Yang Hongwu. Yang Hongwu could see it clearly, because Qianshan Ancestor was a coward who feared death. Go ahead and self-destruct. I'll wait. At this moment, Yang Hongwu was not worried at all. With the devouring furnace, the karmic fire of the Red Lotus, and the suppression of the formation, Yang Hongwu had an absolute advantage. If old ancestor Qianshan wanted to self-destruct, if Qianshan Ancestor wanted to self-destruct, he could give up on the formation and leave. To him, it was just a loss of a formation. To him, it wasn't too much of a loss. It was within an acceptable range. What do you want? Qianshan Ancestor took a deep breath. Self-detonation was just a joke. If he wasn't in complete despair, he definitely wouldn't use self-detonation to take his opponent down with him. Unless you give me the fragment of the planar boat, or a treasure that can replace the planar boat, I have no reason to let you go, Yang Hongwu said coldly. After all, this guy was a half-step Tao Lord. He must have a lot of treasures on him. If there was a treasure that could replace the planar boat, it would be a good thing. Then there would be no need for him to risk his life in the Black Fiend Abyss. That was close. Old ancestor Qianshan felt bitter in his heart. He had treasures, but he didn't have what Yang Hongwu needed. Just like the wretched Black Patriarch, he seemed to have died the same way. I will use one supreme treasure. No, 2 supreme treasures in exchange for my freedom. Old ancestor Qianshan said. If I kill you, I can get it all the same. Yang Hongwu said coldly. At this moment, even if Qianshan Ancestor self-destructed, Yang Hongwu wouldn't suffer any losses. This was because he had unknowingly devoured more than half of Qianshan Ancestor's spiritual energy. Right now, Qianshan Ancestor's strength was less than 10% of his peak. Damn it! By the time he regained his senses, it was already too late. You forced my hand. At this moment, Qianshan Old Ancestor realized that he was dead for sure. Just as he spoke, he realized that his spiritual power was disappearing too quickly. More than half of it was gone in an instant. Not only was his spiritual power gone, even his life force was gone. A lot of it was being devoured. He had never expected that things would turn out like this. Since he knew that he was going to die, he might as well drag someone down with him. At this moment, Yang Hongwu activated his soul attack. Old ancestor Qianshan Ancestor felt his soul being struck by a tremendous force. Instantly, his soul dissipated. There was no way he could self-destruct. The last thought in his mind was regret. He wasn't even able to self-detonate. What a pity. Yet another half-step Dowler had been slain, just like that. Initially, Tai Tulong and the others thought that Patriarch Qianxin was really going to self-destruct. They were scared out of their wits. It must be known that the self-destruction of a half-step Dao Lord was extremely terrifying. If he really did self-destruct, they would probably all die here. But at the next moment, something shocking happened. Old Ancestor Qianxin Ancestor collapsed. That terrifying aura that he was emitting earlier on disappeared as well. He did not self-destruct. Furthermore, the life force of Old Ancestor Qianxin Ancestor was gradually dissipating. This meant that he was dead. Just like that, he died for no reason at all. Tai Tulong and the others could not help but look at their young master, Yang Hongwu. This was way too scary. This was a half-step Dao Lord. To think that he would be killed just like that. Just how strong was their young master? How many more did he have? Trump cards? The strength that he had displayed so far was probably just the tip of the iceberg. Let's go. Yang Hongwu waved his hand, and a ball of flames burned Qianxin Ancestor to ashes. A storage ring flew out from his body and landed in Yang Hongwu's hand. As for Qianxin Ancestor's supreme treasure, it was his weapon. It was a defensive supreme treasure, a treasure armor. This item wasn't very useful to Yang Hongwu. His physical body was already extremely strong. Furthermore, the immortal dragon body that he cultivated needed to be improved continuously. If he used this treasure armor, it would be very useful to him. Otherwise, it wouldn't be of any help to the immortal dragon body. However, this thing was best left for his women. After all, they were still too weak. Yang Hongwu couldn't let his woman stay in his world forever. Could he? Although that wasn't impossible. Young Master, you're mighty. Young Master is amazing. Tai Tulong and the others exclaimed in admiration. At this moment, they no longer had any thoughts about Yang Hongwu. Yang Hongwu was too strong. He had killed a half-step Dao Lord so easily. Moreover, he had already killed 2 half-step Dao Lords. One was Qianxin Ancestor, the other was Black Fiend Patriarch. Both of them were ranked among the top in Skyspan. Moreover, if a half-step Dao Lord wanted to escape, even a Dao Lord of Heavenspan wouldn't be able to stop them. However, Yang Hongwu had done it. This was enough to show how terrifying his strength was. Formation rise. Following Yang Hongwu's shout, the restriction that had been broken in the array formation between the Black Fiend Abyss and the Skyspan continent was once again sealed. Yang Hongwu, Tai Tulong, and the others entered Black Fiend Abyss. Chapter 1973. In exchange, Zhigu would help Yang Hongwu kill Ancestor Qianxin. In return, Yang Hongwu would help Zhigu seal the Black Fiend Abyss. In fact, with Zhigu's strength and the Black Fiend Abyss being in his inner world, it would not be difficult for him to seal it. However, the problem was that he had matters to attend to and was unable to free himself. Within the Black Fiend Abyss, there was one sealed. If such a powerful fiend was not sealed in time, the entire sky-reaching continent would be destroyed. The destruction of the sky-reaching continent wouldn't affect Zhigu greatly, but it would still cause him some trouble. Coincidentally, Yang Hongwu could seal the Black Fiend Abyss. Therefore, he made a deal with Yang Hongwu. In fact, this was the first time Yang Hongwu had spoken to such an expert. The other party's strength was too terrifying. It was like an insurmountable mountain. One should know that it was just a wisp of the other party's thought. If a mere wisp of thought was so powerful, how terrifying would his real body be? Originally, Yang Hongwu wanted to ask for more benefits. He even wanted the other party to send him back to the deity domain. However, that wisp of thought didn't give Yang Hongwu any chance. Yang Hongwu had no choice but to give up. This is the Black Fiend Abyss. The evil Qi is indeed shocking. After entering the Black Fiend Abyss, Yang Hongwu narrowed his eyes as he sensed the evil Qi in the surroundings. The evil Qi was indeed terrifying. If one's cultivation hadn't reached the Emperor Realm, if a divine Emperor Realm martial artist entered the Black Fiend Abyss, he would be seeking his own death. He would be easily invaded by the evil Qi, lose his mind, and become a devil who only knew how to kill. Rumor has it that a terrifying devil is sealed in the Black Fiend Abyss. Is it true that he's called Heaven Evil Tao Lord? Yang Hongwu asked Tao Lord Darkness. After all, Tao Monarch Darkness was a Tao monarch who was sealed in the sky-reaching land. Moreover, it was very close to the Black Fiend Abyss. If Tao Monarch Darkness did not know about it, it was even more impossible for others to know about it. That's right. Within the Black Fiend Abyss, there's a terrifying existence known as Tao Lord Heaven Malevolent. Although his strength isn't as strong as Jiga's, it's still extremely terrifying. He's more than a level stronger than me. Tao Lord Darkness said. You've seen him? Yang Hongwu was a little surprised. However, this was enough to prove that the other party was extremely strong. Of course, it was precisely because of this that Ji Ge had to pay attention to him. The seal in the sky-reaching continent was extremely strong. One was Tao Lord Baleful Heaven, while the other was most likely Tao Lord Darkness. To be able to seal two Tao Lord level experts was already the limit of this world. If more experts were to be sealed, this world would probably collapse. Tao Monarch Darkness shook his head. I've never seen it, but I've heard of it. Be careful. This place has a strange aura. If I'm not wrong, there should be a terrifying, ferocious beast here. Tao Lord Darkness said. At this moment, Anya Shenv and Pan and I had already been sent into Yang Hongwu's own inner world. He didn't let them out, as it would be better for them to cultivate there. Without the two girls, Yang Hongwu could leave without worrying too much. No matter what danger he encountered, he could escape immediately. As for Tai Tulong and the other two, it would depend on their luck. Moreover, their strength wasn't bad. Unless they encountered an extremely terrifying danger, they should be able to survive. Be careful, Yang Hongwu reminded the three. Master, it's too quiet here. Tai Tulong said, although this is the Black Fiend Abyss, it shouldn't be as quiet as this. There might be a powerful, ferocious beast. Shanhai Guanyu nodded. This place was indeed abnormal. What's that? Suddenly, Yi Tianqing shouted. Everyone followed Yi Tianqing's finger and couldn't help but gasp. Yang Hongwu was also shocked. It was a huge scorpion, almost the size of Small Mountain. Yang Hongwu was depressed. Although he had checked it just now, he never thought that the ferocious beast would be so huge. It was like a mountain. This is the abyssal demon scorpion. You guys are too lucky. Tao Lord Darkness was also shocked. Abyssal demon scorpion? You know this guy. Does it have a weakness? Yang Hongwu narrowed his eyes. The abyssal demon scorpion's aura was indeed terrifying. He couldn't see any weakness on this guy. It seemed like this guy was a formidable enemy. Yes, wasn't inferior to the Black Fiend Patriarch and the others. It was enough to show how terrifying its strength was. Weakness? There is. Tao Monarch Darkness said, the weakness of the abyssal magic scorpion is the stinger on its tail. If you can cut off its stinger, its strength will drop by more than 30%. In that case, we have to deal with it. It's much easier to deal with this abyssal demon scorpion. The stinger on the scorpion's tail? But it won't be easy to cut off the stinger on the scorpion's tail, right? Tai Tulong said, that's right. It's very difficult. In my opinion, we should leave this place quickly. Yi Tianqing said. He didn't want to fight such a terrifying thing. It was too terrifying and too powerful. Thus, he felt that the best thing to do was to not confront this thing and directly leave to avoid fighting it. In fact, Yang Hongwu thought so too. However, the abyssal demon scorpion wouldn't give them a chance. It's impossible to leave. Once you enter the abyssal demon scorpion's territory, you're its prey. It won't let you leave so easily. Tao Lord Darkness said, if you want to leave, you have to defeat this abyssal demon scorpion. That's difficult. Although I can do it, I don't have that much time. Yang Hongwu didn't want to waste too much time. He wanted to find a fragment of the planar boat, which was the Black Fiend Patriarch, the Black Dragon mentioned by the Black Fiend Patriarch. However, if he could suppress or even subdue this abyssal demon scorpion, he would be able to find the Black Dragon's location in the shortest time possible. Boom! At this time, a loud sound rang out. The abyssal demon scorpion crawled up. Its huge body, incomparably malevolent pincers, and a scorpion, tail raised high with barbed stings, made people tremble with fear. Chapter 1974. Beast Trapping Great Formation Activate. Following Yang Hongwu's shout, a formation was successfully set up. This formation was specifically targeted at exotic beasts. It was capable of trapping powerful exotic beasts. It had a huge suppressive effect on exotic beasts and vicious beasts. Let's go. After deploying the formation, Yang Hongwu said to Tai Tulong and the others, this formation won't be able to trap it for long. Yang Hongwu wasn't willing to pay a huge price to trap this abyssal demon scorpion. Otherwise, he could rely on this beast-trapping array to fight this abyssal demon scorpion. No. At this moment, another loud sound was heard. It turned out that there was another giant beast ahead. It was also an abyssal demon scorpion. Its body was incomparably huge, and its huge pincers were smashing towards the group. Damn it, why is there another one? Yang Hongwu smiled bitterly. He didn't expect that there wasn't just one abyssal demon scorpion, but a pair. This was going to be troublesome. The beast-trapping great formation had been deployed, but only one of them was trapped. Moreover, the other one was crazily attacking the formation. It wouldn't take long for it to break out of the formation. Once the other abyssal demon scorpion broke out of the formation, the two abyssal demon scorpions would join forces. For Yang Hongwu and the others, they had to get rid of the abyssal demon scorpion in a very short time before they could continue to go deeper. As for killing this abyssal demon scorpion, that was simply unrealistic. Although Yang Hongwu's group had the strength to do so, doing so would consume too much energy. What if they were to continue going deeper and encounter such a powerful exotic beast again? If they encountered an abyssal demon scorpion again, they wouldn't even have the chance to escape. Dao Monarch Darkness. Do you have any way to escape from here? Yang Hongwu looked at Dao Monarch Darkness and asked. At this moment, although Yang Hongwu could use the space teleportation technique to leave this place, it would consume too much energy. It wouldn't be a problem if he was alone, but it would be different if he had to bring Tai Tulong and the others. After all, the evil chi here was too terrifying and the space was too stable. It would be difficult to travel through the void. There is. Dao Lord Darkness said, there's a way to scare that fellow away. What is it? Yang Hongwu asked. Hurry up and tell me. How long do we have to wait? Release the power within your body, Dao Lord Darkness said. The power in my body? When Yang Hongwu heard this, he frowned slightly and said, you must be joking. My strength is only at the Imperial Emperor realm. How can I scare him off? Yang Hongwu didn't believe that he was strong enough to scare off two half-step Dao Lord-level abyssal scorpions just by releasing his Emperor-level aura. That would be a huge joke. No matter what kind of strange beast or living being it was, once its strength reached such a level, it would be hard for it to survive. It was not an aura that could scare them away. Only when they encountered a terrifying aura that could destroy them would they be able to retreat. Otherwise, they definitely wouldn't have retreated so easily, especially in front of what they thought to be their prey. They wouldn't be timid. Obviously, Yang Hongwu and the others were food in the eyes of the abyssal demon scorpion. As the saying goes, humans die in pursuit of wealth, and birds die in pursuit of food. This was the logic behind it. Of course it's not your aura. Dao Lord Black Darkness said, there's a sealed power within your body. It's a vast, majestic power that's incomparably powerful. Why do you think I agreed to your conditions so easily? Dao Lord Darkness said, it's because there's a domineering power in your body. In front of this domineering power, even a Dao Lord level beast has to avoid it, let alone a half-step Dao Lord level abyssal scorpions. Yang Hongwu was speechless when he heard that. Yang Hongwu himself knew that there was a powerful force sealed in his body. He guessed that this was the power of his previous life. Moreover, this force had saved his life many times on the brink of death. However, at this moment, Yang Hongwu had no choice but to accept it. At this moment, Yang Hongwu didn't want to release this force. It was too dangerous. What if the memories of his previous life completely awakened and replaced his current life? or rather, his current consciousness. Would he still be himself then? This wasn't something Yang Hongwu wanted to see. If he lost himself, so what if he gained more power? It was because of this that Yang Hongwu was very resistant to unsealing that force. Otherwise, Yang Hongwu would do everything he could to unseal that force and control it. Once that force was unsealed, it would be under his control. Perhaps he could soar to the sky and reach the ruler or even the Tao Lord level. Impossible. Yang Hongwu shook his head. You don't have to think about it. Is there any other way? Tai Tulong and the others were very surprised when they heard Tao Lord Darkness's words. It turned out that Yang Hongwu had such a big secret. No wonder his strength was so terrifying. No wonder he could make Tao Lord Darkness, a Tao Lord, submit to him even though he was only an emperor. It turned out that Yang Hongwu's background was extraordinary. It was an honor to be able to become the follower of such a powerhouse. Indeed, to them, being able to become the follower of a peerless expert was a supreme honor. If that's the case, I don't have any other ideas. Tao Lord Darkness shook his head. He wanted Yang Hongwu to unleash that force. Once that force was unleashed, this world wouldn't be able to withstand it. At that time, he would have a chance to escape this world and escape from Zhige's control. However, if Yang Hongwu wasn't willing to do so, there was nothing he could do. In fact, Tao Monarch Darkness was just saying that. Even if Yang Hongwu agreed, it would not be easy to activate the power in his body and undo the seal. Not to mention his current situation, even his original body would not be able to do so. Even if he was in his current state, he might not be able to do it. You should have a lot of treasures on you. As a Tao Lord, how could you not have other trump cards? Yang Hongwu said, Give me another puppet talisman to stop this abyssal demon scorpion. Tao Lord Darkness said in annoyance, Do you think puppet talismans of that level are cabbages? You think you can just get one? A teleportation talisman is fine too. I'll refine it and return it to you. Yang Hongwu said, No, my teleportation talisman can only teleport 3 people. Tao Lord Darkness said, Even if I give it to you, it's useless. There's still one person I can't teleport. Chapter 1975. However, Yang Hongwu knew what Yi Tianqing was thinking. Yi Tianqing wanted to get rid of him. As long as Yang Hongwu allowed him to stay, Yi Tianqing would find a way to escape. Once Yang Hongwu freed him, Yi Tianqing would be like a dragon returning to the sea. No one would be able to restrain him. At that time, Yi Tianqing would be free to complete his task, find what he wanted, and unlock the seal. Because of this, Yang Hongwu would never let Yi Tianqing do as he wished. Once Yi Tianqing's true body entered Tongtian continent, Yang Hongwu wouldn't have any problems. After all, he would have to leave sooner or later. However, his son, Yang Tianjun, he was still in this world. As a father, although he hadn't done his duty, he definitely couldn't let others threaten him. Yang Hongwu had no doubts about Yang Tianjun's talent. When the time came, Yang Tianjun's achievements would definitely not be inferior to his own. In fact, Yang Tianjun was a very good stage in the Tongtian continent, which would be of great help to his growth. Moreover, with his talent, he would attract Zhige's attention. At that time, Zhige's nurturing would be much better than following Yang Hongwu. No need. Yang Hongwu said, We're not at the end of the road yet. You don't have to do this. Since you're following me, I won't let anything happen to you before I achieve my goal. Tai Tulong and Shanhai Guanyue were moved as well. They had already been shocked by Yang Hongwu's prowess. Now that they saw Yang Hongwu acting like this, they were naturally moved. Unlike Yi Tianqing had never been one of them. As a member of the Heavenly Demon Clan, although a portion of his memories had been sealed, his goal had not changed. That was something that came from the depths of his soul. It was his foundation and absolutely could not be changed. In fact, these beasts were closely related to the peerless powerhouse of the Heavenly Monster Tribe. It could be said that all the beasts, strange beasts, and even the ocean folk were closely related to that powerhouse. They were all his bloodline. Give me the talisman, Yang Hongwu said to Tao Lord Darkness. Here, Tao Lord Darkness was also a scoundrel. He wanted to see how Yang Hongwu was going to leave this place. Let me remind you, although you have spatial mystic techniques, it is actually impossible for you to escape from the abyssal demon scorpions. The abyssal devil scorpions have already locked onto your aura. As long as you are still in the Black Fiend Abyss, you can't escape. Aura lock. Yang Hongwu frowned slightly. This was troublesome. Then what should we do? Tai Tulong and Moon Watcher both frowned. Neither of them had reached the half-step Downlord level of power, and so they weren't confident in their ability to escape the pursuit of two half-step Downlords. These were half-step Downlord wild beasts. They were terrifyingly powerful. Only if they were able to raise their cultivation bases to the half-step Downlord level would they be able to defeat them. The only one who was not worried was Yi Tianxing. In fact, after he entered the Black Fiend Abyss, a part of his memory had been awakened. He could even transform his physical body into a true heavenly demon. In that case, how could his bloodline be afraid of the wild beasts in the Black Fiend Abyss? In fact, after entering the Black Fiend Abyss, he knew that the sealed Downlord in the Black Fiend Abyss, Downlord Heaven Fiend, was also a member of the heavenly demon race. However, this Downlord of the heavenly demon race had been suppressed by Zhiga, and so had their supreme heavenly demon emperor. Don't worry. As long as we leave the Black Fiend Abyss, these two beasts won't be able to catch us. No powerful wild beasts can leave the Black Fiend Abyss. Yang Hongwu said. Back then, the Black Fiend Patriarch had actually obtained a part of Downlord Heaven Fiend's legacy. It wasn't easy to obtain Downlord Heaven Fiend's legacy. The reason he had left his legacy to others was so that they could break the seal of the Black Fiend Abyss and let the power of the Black Fiend Abyss spread out. Once the power of the heavenly demon race was combined, unimaginable changes would occur. All the wild beasts on the Skyspan continent would transform into true heavenly demons and awaken the power of the heavenly demon emperor. That's good. However, the problem now is how are we going to escape from these two abyssal demon scorpions? Yi Tianxing said, Young Master, the other abyssal devil scorpion is about to break the seal of the formation as well. Don't worry, I've already prepared the talisman, Li Qiye said with a smile. Yang Hongwu took out a talisman and handed it to Tai Tulong. He then turned to Tai Tulong and Yi Tianxing and said, Tai Tulong, take this talisman and leave this place with Yi Tianxing. Me and Shanhai Guanyue will catch up to you soon. Yang Hongwu wasn't worried about Tai Tulong for the time being. Tai Tulong's life was in his hands. As for Yi Tianxing, although he had his own ideas, he wasn't as strong as Tai Tulong. Tai Tulong wouldn't be able to suppress him unless he changed his bloodline. However, that would take time. Yang Hongwu wouldn't get him that much time. As for why they didn't allow Shanhai Guanyue to leave with the two of them, it was because Shanhai Guanyue had a grudge against the two of them. At that time, if the three of them were to be alone, it would cause unnecessary trouble. Shanhai Guanyue's life wasn't in his hands. Although she had made a great Dao oath, wasn't enough to completely restrain her. Don't worry, young master. Tai Tulong hurriedly nodded. He knew that Yang Hongwu wanted him to keep an eye on Yi Tianxing. In fact, he wasn't at ease with Yi Tianxing either. If it weren't for Yang Hongwu, he would have killed Yi Tianxing. All right, let's go. Tai Tulong grabbed Yi Tianxing's arm, crushed the talisman, and disappeared on the spot. Dao Lord Darkness looked at Yang Hongwu curiously. What would Yang Hongwu do? He was the one who gave Yang Hongwu the talisman. Now that Tai Tulong had used it, Yang Hongwu didn't have it on him anymore. Let's see how he's going to leave with the talisman. However, in the next instant, to his astonishment, Yang Hongwu formed hand seals in the air and drew a talisman seal. Very quickly, numerous talisman runes appeared. Using the power of space, Yang Hongwu condensed a talisman seal. This talisman seal contained the same amount of power of creation as him. Chapter 1976. It's done. Let's go. Yang Hongwu disappeared from the spot with Shanhai Guanyue in an instant after the talisman was successfully refined. It was too shocking. This caused Dao Monarch Darkness to be incomparably shocked. The talisman that was created so easily actually succeeded. After a short while, they arrived at a place. This place was actually different from the outside world. It wasn't filled with baleful chi, but with immortal chi. This was the Black Fiend Abyss. Who would have thought that there would be such an immortal realm in the Black Fiend Abyss? There was no ominous chi, and the spiritual chi was extremely dense. Such a huge contrast made one unable to believe what they were seeing. Where's this place? The spiritual chi here is really dense. If one were to cultivate here, they would definitely improve by leaps and bounds. Shanghai Guanyue said. To think that there would be such a place in the Black Fiend Abyss. What a surprise. Yang Hongwu turned to Tai Tulong and the other two. You guys have entered the Black Fiend Abyss before. Don't you know about this secret realm? Obviously, the place that they had entered was a secret realm. Moreover, it wasn't an ordinary secret realm, but a special space. Perhaps it was opened up by an expert. If the other party could open up such a space in the Black Fiend Abyss, his strength was definitely not weak. Tai Tulong and the other two shook their heads. Their consciousness couldn't spread out at all. After all, this was the Black Fiend Abyss. Moreover, their consciousness was more relaxed in the Black Fiend Abyss. Although there was no ominous chi in this space, it was suppressed. Suppression. The immortal chi was abundant. However, their divine sense was being suppressed. Young master, this place is very strange. We should be careful. Don't enter the tiger's den after leaving the dragon's den. That would be bad. Yi Tianxing said. In fact, Yi Tianxing was very nervous at this time. The aura here made him very uncomfortable. He even wanted to leave this place immediately. However, the problem now was that he couldn't leave Yang Hongwu's range of control. If he had any other ideas and Yang Hongwu used a technique, he would be in big trouble. Yang Hongwu would not let him off so easily. Yi Tianxing was well aware of this. Otherwise, he wouldn't have taken a risk to ask Yang Hongwu to stay behind and fight the abyssal magic scorpions alone. That makes sense. This place is indeed fraught with danger. Yang Hongwu nodded. He had to admit that Yi Tianxing's words were correct. Even his divine sense couldn't spread out in this place, which was a bit strange. His divine sense was extremely powerful, and even with the help of his Dharma Eye of Annihilation, he was still unable to detect everything in this space. At most, he could only detect the situation within a radius of 1,000 feet. For Yang Hongwu, this range was too narrow. Dao Lord Darkness. What kind of existence is in this space? Yang Hongwu looked at Dao Lord Darkness. After all, this fellow was a Dao Lord expert. If he didn't know, it was impossible for others to know. After all, he was a Dao Lord expert, and he had been sealed in the sky-reaching land for so many years. However, according to Dao Lord Darkness, there were only 2 Dao Lords sealed in the sky-reaching land. One was Dao Lord Heaven Fiend, and the other was himself. However, Yang Hongwu didn't believe it. After all, Yang Hongwu had checked Yi Tianxing's memories. He had checked Yi Tianxing's memories. The emperor of the celestial demon race was, in fact, a Dao Lord expert. He was a top-tier Dao Lord with strength comparable to Zhiga. That level was already a terrifying existence. This space was obviously very strange. However, it didn't seem like the space created by Dao Lord Heaven Fiend and the Heavenly Demon Emperor. The strength of the person who created this space was very strong. He was most likely a Dao Lord, the existence of the upper realm. If that was the case, then it was very likely that there were 4 Dao Lord experts in the Heavenspan realm. This aura is very familiar. If I'm not wrong, this should be a space created by one of Zhiga's subordinates, said Dao Lord Darkness. One of Dao Lord Zhiga's subordinates? That's right. Perhaps Dao Lord Zhiga sent here to protect the sky-reaching land, said Dao Lord Darkness. They're very strong. Even if they're not a Dao Lord, they're not that far off. That's very likely. If that's the case, then it couldn't be better. Tai Tulong heaved a sigh of relief. He wasn't as nervous as before. That's right. If we can meet Dao Lord Zhiga's successor, that would be even better, said Shanghai Guanyue. After all, this was something to be envied. Why did most cultivators come for the Zhiga medallion? Why did they enter the Zhiga shrine? Didn't they all come for Zhiga? Didn't they all want to become Zhiga's disciple? If they could become Zhiga's disciple, it would be like reaching the heavens in a single bound. Since this space was very likely to be Dao Lord Zhiga's disciple or subordinate, it would be best if they could meet him. This was very likely, but not absolute. Unlike Tai Tulong's joy and anticipation, Yi Tianqing didn't want to meet Dao Lord Zhiga's successor or protector at all. If Dao Lord Zhiga saw through his identity, he'd be dead without a doubt. Even if he didn't die, he probably wouldn't be able to leave this space. That meant he wouldn't be able to complete his mission. What if he isn't? Yi Tianqing said, "Young master, I suggest that we leave this place. Besides, young master's goal is to find the fragments of the planar boat. There are no fragments of the planar boat here. There's no hurry." Yang Hongwu smiled and shook his head. Now that the master has appeared, wouldn't it be rude for us to leave just like that? What? Sir, do you mean that the master of this space has already appeared? Asked Shanhai Guanya. He's already here, said Yang Hongwu. Come out, senior. Little guy, not bad at all. You were able to discover my presence. At this moment, an illusory figure appeared and slowly condensed into a solid body. This person's face was somewhat unreal. It was ethereal and illusory. Although the face was unreal, although it wasn't clear whether it was real or not, one could tell that it was a middle-aged scholar. Chapter 1977. Kuang Zhan. The middle-aged scholar said. This name didn't match his appearance at all. He looked like a scholar, but he had such a domineering name. It didn't match at all. However, no one dared to underestimate Kuang Zhan in front of them. His strength had definitely reached the level of a Dao Lord. Senior, we have barged in rashly. I hope you can forgive us. Yang Hongwu was very respectful. If Yang Hongwu was like this, the others didn't dare to be presumptuous, especially Dao Lord Darkness. When he saw Kuang Zhan looking at him, he quickly lowered his head. This person was one of Dao Lord Darkness's generals. He was one of Dao Lord Ji's capable generals. Even if Dao Lord Darkness was at his peak, he might not be able to defeat Kuang Zhan. This showed how ferocious Kuang Zhan's strength was. Kuang Zhan waved his hand slightly and shook his head. It's fine. He didn't care about this. Of course, he knew who Yang Hongwu was. This young man was the most important person to his master, Zhiga. He might become the last disciple of his master, Zhiga. Once he became Zhi's disciple, once Zhiga became Zhi's disciple, Kuang Zhan's status might be even higher than his. Kuang Zhan had to admit that Yang Hongwu's talent was really amazing. In particular, the terrifying power in Yang Hongwu's body made him tremble. If that power erupted, he would be killed. Dao Lord experts weren't truly immortal. If he encountered an expert at the same level as his master, it wouldn't be difficult for him to kill an ordinary Dao Lord expert. The power in Yang Hongwu's body was just as terrifying. Why have you all come here? Kuang Zhan looked at Yang Hongwu and the others and said, If you have any questions, I might be able to answer them for you. Kuang Zhan's attitude was so good that it was unbelievable. This attitude was a little too good. Even Yang Hongwu found it unbelievable. However, Dao Lord Darkness knew very well that Kuang Zhan's attitude was probably because of Yang Hongwu. As a Dao Lord, how could he not know the terrifying power in Yang Hongwu's body? Once it was unleashed, no one would be able to withstand it. This meant that Yang Hongwu was an immortal existence. Furthermore, those who dared to attack him after enraging him would also die. However, even though Yang Hongwu knew that there was an overbearing power in his body, he was unwilling to use it. Moreover, even if he wanted to use this power, it was not up to him. This power could only be used at the edge of life and death. Only then would it erupt. Once or twice was fine, but if it happened too many times, Yang Hongwu was really worried that he would lose himself and his current consciousness. In that case, he would no longer be himself, but another person. This was what Yang Hongwu didn't want to see the most. He was very resistant to this power in his body. In front of him, one of Zhiga's subordinates, a terrifying Dao Lord, treated him so well. Most likely, it was because of the energy in his body. Perhaps it had a lot to do with Zhiga. Yang Hongwu wasn't a fool. He didn't think that Zhiga would pay so much attention to him for no reason. It was nothing more than his special physique and the power in his body. We came to the Black Fiend Abyss to find the fragments of the planar boat. Senior, I wonder if you can give us some advice? Yang Hongwu looked at Kwang Zhan. If he was willing to help, there shouldn't be any problem in finding the Black Dragon. After all, he was the guardian of the sky-reaching continent and was extremely powerful. There weren't many things in the sky-reaching continent that he didn't know. The fragments of the planar boat? I know that. The fragments of the planar boat are in the hands of a black dragon. This black dragon is very powerful. With your strength, it will be very difficult to defeat that black dragon, said Kwang Zhan. Senior, do you know the location of that black dragon? Can you tell me? Yang Hongwu's attitude was very humble. After all, this was a Tao Lord expert. Of course I do. Berserker said, You're in big trouble now. You've been targeted by 2 abyssal magic scorpions. Once you leave my space, you'll be targeted by those 2 abyssal magic scorpions. Therefore, even if I tell you the location of that black dragon, even if I tell you where the black dragon is, there's nothing you can do. Senior, do you have a way to solve it? Yang Hongwu asked. Judging from Kwang Zhan's tone, he had a way to help them deal with the abyssal demon scorpions. Of course, if he took action, he could indeed easily kill those 2 abyssal demon scorpions. After all, he was a Tao Lord expert. If I can leave this space, I can help you deal with those 2 abyssal demon scorpions. However, I have to guard this space and can't let anything happen to me. Therefore, I can't help you deal with those 2 abyssal demon scorpions, said Kwang Zhan. But what? Yang Hongwu asked. He obviously didn't finish his words. There was still room for negotiation. Although Yang Hongwu wasn't afraid of those 2 abyssal demon scorpions, if those 2 abyssal demon scorpions caught up with him after he found a black dragon, it would be troublesome. Yang Hongwu naturally didn't want to get into such trouble. If you help me deal with a problem, I can help you deal with those 2 abyssal demon scorpions, said Kwang Zhan. Yang Hongwu frowned slightly. There was no such thing as a free lunch in the world. If Kwang Zhan wanted to help him, he would definitely have to pay a price. This was very normal, but the price wouldn't be small. This was what Yang Hongwu was worried about. Senior, if you can't deal with it with your strength, I'm afraid the few of us won't be able to do it, right? Yang Hongwu said, No, others may not be able to do it, but you definitely can. Kwang Zhan looked at Yang Hongwu and said, Your cultivation realm may not be enough now, but you have a way to help me complete this matter. What is it? Yang Hongwu took a deep breath and looked at him. In fact, if Kwang Zhan really wanted to harm them, everyone present might not be able to resist him even if they joined hands. After all, his strength was there for all to see. Moreover, this was his space world. Berserker waved his hand, and a passage appeared in the void. At the end of the passage was a terrible seal. There was a crack in the seal, and this crack emitted a terrible devil chi. The devil chi was condensed, and it seemed as if it was condensing. It seemed to condense and take shape. Everyone took a deep breath. Chapter 1978. Yang Hongwu frowned slightly. In fact, this was not a difficult task for him, and it would not take much time. However, the crux of the problem was that he needed resources. This ceiling formation was not ordinary, and he needed to repair it. This formation wasn't difficult for Yang Hongwu, but it was a problem to repair it. How about it? Kwang Zhan looked at Yang Hongwu and said, Don't refuse. I know you can do it. The formation outside was repaired by you, so you can do it. Senior, it's not a big problem to repair it, but the materials needed to repair such a powerful ceiling formation are not simple. Yang Hongwu looked at Kwang Zhan and said with some difficulty, So that's what you're worried about. It's just a small matter. Tell me, what do you need? Just tell me, and I'll give it to you right away. As he spoke, Kwang Zhan threw a storage ring to Yang Hongwu. Take a look. There's enough things inside. If it's not enough, I'll think of something else. Yang Hongwu took the storage ring and looked at it. His eyes widened. There were too many things in the storage ring. He had plenty of Tao-grade divine origin stones, and he also wanted other things. Each of them could be said to be the best of the best. Even the cores of exotic beasts were at the Tao grade. This shocked Yang Hongwu. In fact, he didn't need so many. It's enough. It's enough. Yang Hongwu said, That's good. If there's more, I'll give the rest to you. If there's less, you can tell me. Quang Zhan said. In fact, Quang Zhan knew that the things in his storage ring were definitely enough. As for the extra things, he gave them to Yang Hongwu as a sign of good karma. After all, Yang Hongwu was someone that even Tao Lord Zhiga valued. He knew very well how important Yang Hongwu was to Zhiga. Moreover, his strength was so terrifying. Leave it to me. Yang Hongwu nodded. Senior, don't worry. Now I'll help you pin down those 2 abyssal demon scorpions. When you're done sealing them, I'll send you to the location of that black dragon, Berserker said. Thank you, Senior. Yang Hongwu nodded. As long as Berserker was willing to help, it would naturally be for the best. He had to admit that the 2 abyssal scorpions had caused him a lot of trouble. After all, the 2 abyssal scorpions were so powerful that they were half-step Tao Lords. In addition, they were far more powerful than most half-step Tao Lords. If Yang Hongwu wanted to kill these 2 half-step Tao Lords, it would be extremely difficult. All of you step aside. I'll repair this sealing formation. After Yang Hongwu spoke to Tai Tulong and the others behind him, he took a step forward and entered the passage. After entering the passage, the terrifying demonic aura surged towards Yang Hongwu. This was demonic aura. If an ordinary person were to approach it, they would immediately turn into a demon. It was a terrifying thing. Tai Tulong and the others were very worried when they saw Yang Hongwu enter the passage. After all, the demonic aura was too terrifying. They could feel the terror of the demonic aura even from here. If they were to be infected by it, they wouldn't be able to withstand it for long. Will the young master be all right? Tai Tulong was especially worried. After all, Yang Hongwu's survival was related to their survival. He'll be fine. Since the young master dares to do this, he must be confident, Moonview said. At this point, the hatred between Moonview and Tai Tulong was no longer as strong. After all, they had experienced so many life and death situations together. They could be said to be comrades in the trenches. As for the previous hatred, it was actually between the 2 sides. Putting aside the hatred between the cities, there was no personal hatred between them. As for Yi Tianxing, his feelings were very complicated. He knew that Yang Hongwu controlled his life and death. However, he wasn't afraid. After awakening a part of his memory, he knew that once Yang Hongwu died, he would be in trouble. It would cause a great deal of trouble, but he wouldn't die. In the worst-case scenario, he could just abandon this physical body of his. However, it would be very troublesome to stay here. Once he abandoned his physical body, he would be completely exposed. At that time, the Tao Lord expert in front of him wouldn't let him off easily. Therefore, his feelings were very complicated at this moment. After entering the passage, Yang Hongwu activated the devouring furnace and frantically devoured the demonic aura. The demonic aura might be fatal to ordinary people, but it wasn't so for Yang Hongwu. However, the demonic aura was of great help to him. After devouring and refining the demonic aura, it could even increase his cultivation base. Even the remnant consciousness of Tian Sha in the demonic aura couldn't pose a threat to Yang Hongwu. His devouring furnace and the karmic fire of the Red Lotus were very domineering. How could the remnant consciousness pose a threat to Yang Hongwu? Damn it, you little bastard. If you dare to repair this seal, I'll kill you. A furious voice was transmitted to Yang Hongwu's ears. It was the voice of Tian Sha. He was sealed here, and it wasn't easy for him to tear a crack in the seal. However, he didn't expect that someone would come to repair it. Moreover, this person's strength was only at the Emperor realm. If it was a half-step Tao Lord Array Master, Tian Sha might be afraid. However, the person who came was only at the Emperor realm. How dare he act so presumptuously and devour his demonic aura? How could Tian Sha tolerate this? After all, the demonic aura was his source of strength. Why would Tian Sha be helpless against the demonic aura? It was because the demonic aura was his source of strength and contained his consciousness. Therefore, Tian Sha couldn't get rid of the demonic aura. That was why his demonic aura continued to condense and leak out from the seal. Kill me. Yang Hanwu couldn't help but laugh when he heard Tian Sha's voice. This guy still dared to threaten him at this time. What a joke. Tian Sha was still sealed. If he wasn't, Yang Hanwu might be a little afraid. However, since he was sealed, Yang Hanwu wasn't worried at all. Although there was a crack in the seal, it wouldn't be difficult for him to repair it. Moreover, Tian Sha dared to threaten him. Yang Hanwu would further strengthen the seal so that Tian Sha wouldn't have any chance to escape. You're dreaming. Originally, I only wanted to repair this seal. Since you dare to threaten me, I'll teach you a lesson. Yang Hanwu shouted. He struck out a seal. Chapter 1979. Damn it, you little bastard, I won't let you off. Fiend Heaven was unwilling to accept this. The crack that he had worked so hard to open was sealed by this brat in front of him. How could he be angry? This was a situation that he had worked so hard to open, but it was destroyed in an instant. How could he be willing to accept the fact that it had been destroyed? All of this was destroyed by this brat in front of him. Ordinary people couldn't do this at all. Even a Dao Lord expert couldn't resist his demonic chi. However, Yang Hongwu seemed to be fine. Not only did the demonic chi not harm him, but it was also swallowed by him. Devour refined it. This was simply intolerable. If it was someone else, no one could do it, but there was a freak like Yang Hongwu. It was really abominable. However, there was nothing he could do. He couldn't deal with Yang Hongwu at all. Helpless, extremely helpless. He was Dao Lord Heaven Fiend, the mighty Dao Lord Heaven Fiend who dominated the myriad worlds. Once he went out, he was an existence who could intimidate countless people. Yet, he was actually suppressed by a mere imperial emperor. But so what? He couldn't threaten Yang Hongwu at all. If he couldn't go out, he had no other way. In the distance, he saw Yi Tianxing and felt the aura in Yi Tianxing's body. However, Yi Tianxing didn't show any signs of helping him. This made him feel very helpless. The seal of the array was repaired in just a dozen breaths. This speed was unparalleled. It was too fast. Fortunately, I didn't disappoint you. After Yang Hongwu repaired the array, he said to Kuang Zhan, "Good." Kuang Zhan was also pleasantly surprised. Yang Hongwu had shocked him too much. Now that the crack of the seal was repaired by Yang Hongwu, his original body was much more relaxed. He didn't need to worry so much anymore. I didn't expect you to have such high attainments in array formations. This really surprised me. Kuang Zhan looked at Yang Hongwu with a self-evident smile on his face, as expected of the person who was valued by his teacher. Not only was Yang Hongwu's cultivation talent incomparable, but he was also very talented. His attainments in array formations were also so great. His talent was simply too frightening. In terms of formations, even his teacher might not be able to match up to him. One had to know that his current cultivation was only at the Emperor realm. He wasn't even at the Ruler realm. If he reached the Ruler realm, how terrifying would he be? This was something that no one dared to imagine. If such a person were to grow up, he would definitely be an invincible existence in the same realm. Furthermore, Yang Hongwu currently had that terrifying power in his body. It was absolutely impossible for him to die. Thus, if anyone could take Yang Hongwu as their disciple, it would mean that they would have another expert. There's almost no risk of death for such a person. The power in his body could not possibly kill him unless a peak Dao Lord expert attacked and killed him with lightning speed. Only then would it be possible. Senior, you must be joking. This is just a small trick, Yang Hongwu said modestly. Little brother, you're too modest. If this is just a small trick, then what is a big trick? Berserker said, since you've helped me solve the problem that gave me a huge headache, I'll do what I promised you. I'll deal with the 2 abyssal demon scorpions. I'll help you hold them back. In addition, I'll send you directly to the Black Dragon's lair. As for whether you can get rid of the Black Dragon and obtain the fragment of the planar boat that you want, it'll be up to you. That's enough. Yang Hongwu was overjoyed when he heard that. This time, he did not suffer any losses. Instead, he gained a lot. In particular, those few Tao grade divine origin stones were of great help to him. They were enough to raise his cultivation by 1 or 2 levels. Of course, he did not have enough time now. As long as he had time, he would use those Tao grade divine origin stones to raise his cultivation. Moreover, he had just devoured and refined a portion of Tian Sha's devilish qi, which had raised his cultivation to a limit. He was only 1 step away from breaking through another small realm. Of course, what made him the happiest was that he would be able to find the location of the Black Dragon without wasting too much time. Are you ready? If you're ready, I'll send you there, said Berserker. Yes, I'm ready. Yang Hongwu would have liked to get some pointers from his expert if he hadn't been in a hurry to find the fragment of the planar boat. After all, although his current strength was not bad and his combat experience was passable, if he was to fight against a Tao Grade Divine Origin Realm expert, he would not be able to defeat a Tao Grade Divine Origin Realm expert. If he really had to face a Tao Lord, it could be said that he didn't have the slightest chance of winning. As for Tao Lord Darkness, he was only a clone now after all. Moreover, it was a very weak clone. His strength was not even 1/100th of his peak strength. This incarnation of Tao Lord Darkness was weaker than even most half-step Tao Lords. Moreover, Tao Lord Darkness might not agree to his request. In addition, Yang Hongwu himself was somewhat wary of Tao Lord Darkness. This guy seemed to be under his control, but in fact, Yang Hongwu did not know what Tao Lord Darkness was thinking. Moreover, he had given Anya Shin a cultivation technique. This cultivation technique had restrictions on Anya Shin. If the goddess of the Dark Night had nothing to do with him, he wouldn't be worried. But now, the goddess of the Dark Night could be said to be his woman. Although they hadn't done the deed as husband and wife yet, in fact, whether it was others or himself, they both recognized that, because the goddess of the night was already his woman. She already had this title. Therefore, if Tao Lord Darkness wanted to use Anya Shin to deal with him, he would have grasped one of Yi Shiwen's weaknesses. In fact, Yi Shiwen did not want to let Anya Shin cultivate that cultivation technique. However, that cultivation technique was of great help to Anya Shin's strength. It could even help her break through to the Tao Lord realm. He could not make the decision for Anya Shin. Moreover, Anya Shin wanted to improve her cultivation in order to close the gap between them and help him. How could he bear to deprive her of all this? Therefore, to Yang Hongwu, as long as there was a way, Yang Hongwu would think of a way to get rid of Tao Lord Darkness. Of course, it was too unrealistic to kill this guy. After all, he was a Tao Lord. Unless Yi Shiwen broke through to the ruler realm, it was impossible to kill him. Even if Tao Lord Darkness was in a sealed state, his strength was greatly reduced. The same was true even if he was suppressed. Since you're ready, I'll send you over. Be careful, I'm about to make my move. As soon as Berserker's voice fell, Yang Hongwu and the others felt a huge force pushing them into a spatial tunnel, allowing them to enter it. Chapter 1980. In the next moment, the group appeared in a place with dense, baleful aura. The baleful aura here was denser than any other place in the Black Fiend Abyss. The surroundings were filled with the aura of death, which made people feel very uncomfortable. However, it was extremely comfortable for Yi Tianxing. He couldn't help but want to devour the baleful aura here. There was a special force here that seemed to be stimulating the power of the heavenly demon clan in his body. Yi Tianxing was pleasantly surprised. This meant that there was a powerful bloodline of the heavenly demon clan in this place, or a treasure. Young master, the aura here is disgusting. The baleful aura is too dense. It's very similar to the baleful aura that was released when young master sealed the crack. Although it's not as powerful, its essence is similar. Tai Tu said. Long Tu said. Yang Hongwu frowned slightly. Indeed, the baleful aura was terrifying. Although it didn't affect him, it was different for Tai Tu Long and Shanghai Guanyue. They couldn't bear the baleful aura. It's all right. Yang Hongwu thought for a moment and waved his hand. A ray of light burst out from his hand. He drew seals in the void and condensed runes. These runes gathered together and formed several talisman seals. Take these talisman seals. They can temporarily isolate you from the baleful aura. Yang Hongwu handed the talisman seals to Tai Tu-Long and the rest. In fact, these talisman seals were helpful to Tai Tu-Long and the rest. However, they had limitations on Yi Tianxing. When Yi Tianxing held the talisman seals in his hand, he felt extremely uncomfortable. However, there was nothing he could do. He didn't dare to expose himself at this moment. This was because he knew that Yang Hongwu had read his memories. If Yang Hongwu knew that he had awakened his memories, he would be in big trouble. He reckoned that Yang Hongwu would kill him immediately. Thank you, young master. After everyone wore the talisman seals, they realized that the baleful aura's influence on them had weakened to the extreme. In fact, it didn't affect them at all. In this case, they could unleash their combat strength to the maximum. If they encountered the Black Dragon, they could also unleash their full combat strength without being suppressed. Roar! At this moment, a voice rang out. It was the Black Dragon's roar. Yang Hongwu frowned. This was not normal. When he was teleported out, he had already used a secret technique to conceal everyone's aura. Therefore, no one knew that they had appeared here. However, when Berserker teleported them out, there were no spatial ripples at all. After all, Berserker was a powerful Tao Lord who was incredibly strong. Adding on the fact that he had concealed everyone's aura, the Black Dragon would not be able to discover their existence unless they were directly teleported in front of the Black Dragon. However, it was clear that although their location was very close to the Black Dragon's lair, it was far from the Black Dragon's location. There was a small mountain between them. This was the Black Dragon's blind spot. Furthermore, he had concealed everyone's cultivation, so the Black Dragon had no way of discovering them. But now they had been exposed. This meant that someone had done something. Who was the culprit? Berserker? Impossible. If Berserker wanted to scheme against them, he wouldn't need to use these little tricks at all. Therefore, there was only one possibility. Someone among them had revealed their location. But who could it be? Yang Hongwu couldn't have done it himself. Therefore, it could only be Tai Tu-Long and the others. In fact, Tai Tu-Long wouldn't do such a thing. Even though Tai Tu-Long had taken Tai Tu-Long's Iron Mountain City, Tai Tu-Long's life was in Yi Shiwen's hands. If anything were to happen to Yi Shiwen, Tai Tu-Long would be the first to die. Therefore, it was unlikely. Moreover, there was no need for him to do so. The second person was Shanhai Guanyue. Her chances were higher than Tai Tu-Long's, but in fact, the chances were very slim. Although he did not control Shanhai Guanyue's life, there was no need for her to do so. If Tai Tu-Long and Shanhai Guanyue weren't the culprit, then there were only two other people. One was Yi Tianxing, and the other was Tao Lord Darkness. After all, Tao Lord Darkness was a Tao Lord. There was no need for him to do such a thing. Tao Lord Darkness's intention was to leave Tongtian Continent. Once he left Tongtian Continent, he would be like a bird flying in the vast sky and a fish swimming in the vast sea. He needed to wait for Yang Hongwu to leave Tongtian Continent. Therefore, Tao Lord Darkness wouldn't deliberately reveal their location. That wouldn't do him any good. If none of the three people were the culprit, then the only possibility was Yi Tianxing. That guy was a member of the heavenly monster race. Therefore, the person who had revealed their location was most likely Yi Tianxing. The chances of anyone else being the culprit were too slim. Of course, Yang Hongwu didn't have enough time to deal with him. Even if he had time, Yang Hongwu wouldn't deal with him for the time being. To him, the Black Dragon was the most important thing. After all, the fragment of the planar boat he wanted was in the Black Dragon's possession. Humans, how dare you trespass into my territory? The Black Dragon was furious when he saw Yang Hongwu and the others appear. He glared at Yang Hongwu and the others, his huge eyes flashing with killing intent. These humans really didn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. How dare they provoke the great Black Dragon Patriarch? They were courting death. Little Black Dragon. Yang Hongwu looked at the huge guy in front of him and said, "I heard that you have the fragment of the planar boat, Little Black Dragon?" The Black Dragon Patriarch was even angrier when he heard that. Little Worm, what did you say? How dare you call the great Black Dragon Patriarch, Tao Lord Black Dragon, Little Black Dragon? Do you know what you're doing? The Black Dragon's loud voice was like a clap of thunder, causing everyone's ears to buzz. Little Loach, don't be so shameless. Yang Hongwu said coldly, hand over the fragment of the planar boat, and I can spare your life. Yang Hongwu didn't give the Black Dragon any face. If it were any other half-step Dao Lord-level beast, Yang Hongwu might be a bit wary, such as the Abyssal Devil Scorpion. However, Yang Hongwu wasn't afraid or worried about the Black Dragon. After all, the Black Dragon was also a dragon. As long as it was a dragon, Yang Hongwu would have a huge advantage. The dragon bloodline in his body was supreme. Any dragon would be suppressed in front of him. As long as he exposed the power of his bloodline, this Black Dragon would be suppressed. Chapter 1981. Little Worm, you're courting death. When the Black Dragon Old Ancestor heard this, he was furious to the extreme. This human reptile was actually so arrogant and impudent. He didn't put in his eyes at all. He was just a human reptile at the Imperial Emperor realm. He was courting death. Courting death. Yang Hongwu chuckled. This Black Dragon before him still didn't know what kind of existence it had provoked. If Yang Hongwu had directly sent out the fragment of the planar boat, he wouldn't have suffered any harm at all. However, this Black Dragon now had the upper hand. However, this Black Dragon Patriarch had overestimated himself and wanted to fight him to the death. Sorry, he had to kill him. Yang Hongwu didn't want to waste any more time. Moreover, there was a ticking time bomb beside him, Qianxing. This guy was ready to make a move. Therefore, Yang Hongwu's purpose this time wasn't just to get what he wanted. He wanted to get his hands on the dimensional boat and get rid of the unstable factor, Qianxing. Let's see who's courting death. As soon as Yang Hongwu's voice fell, he waved his hand and a powerful array formation appeared. This array formation was extremely powerful. It was the legendary dragon trapping array. In an instant, the Black Dragon's lair was shrouded in it. What kind of formation is this? The Black Dragon Patriarch's expression changed when he saw the formation set up by Yang Hongwu. This formation gave him too much pressure. He felt that his bloodline was being suppressed. It was a pressure that came from the depths of his soul. It was controlled. Moreover, he felt a terrifying power from this human. This power was enough to destroy him. No wonder this human was so arrogant and didn't take him seriously. He actually had such a trump card. No, could it be that he wasn't a human, but a dragon? Moreover, his bloodline was much more advanced than his own. If that was the case, he was really in danger. However, as a half-step Dao Lord, the Black Dragon Patriarch wouldn't give up so easily. Yang Hongwu had a powerful bloodline of dragons. If he could kill Yang Hongwu and devour his bloodline, he would be able to break through the shackles, break through the bottleneck, and reach a higher level, becoming a real Dao Lord. This was a huge temptation for the Black Dragon Patriarch. Not to mention the Black Dragon Patriarch. If it were anyone else, they would not be able to resist such temptation. Therefore, even in the face of such a terrifying formation, the Black Dragon Patriarch had to give it a try. If he succeeded, he would really soar to the sky. He wouldn't give up such a good opportunity. Dragon Trapping Formation. You're just a little loach. It's your honor to use this formation. Yang Hongwu. In this formation, the strength of the Black Dragon Ancestor would be absolutely suppressed. If it was before, Yang Hongwu's formation might not be able to trap the Black Dragon Ancestor for a long time. However, Yang Hongwu had obtained a lot from Mad Warrior before. Those resources were precisely used to set up the formation. As such, the formation that was set up now was simply too powerful. If the other party's cultivation was at the level of Dao Lord Jinjun, perhaps he would be able to resist for a long time and even break the formation. However, Patriarch Black Dragon's strength was only at the level of a half-step Dao Lord. He hadn't reached the level of a Dao Lord yet. Although there was only a slight difference between him and a half-step Dao Lord, the difference was like the difference between the heavens and the earth. It was this fine line that determined that after the Black Dragon Patriarch entered the array formation, he would definitely not be able to break through the suppression of the array formation in a short period of time. Dying. The Black Dragon ancestor transformed into a huge black dragon. His body was still growing. This was the Dragon Dharma form of dragons. It was similar to the Heaven and Earth Dharma form of human warriors. His body had become extremely huge. In fact, this was his original body. The power of his body had condensed, making his body bigger and bigger, as if he could break through the heavens and earth. He wanted to use his Dharma form to break this formation. But in fact, all his efforts were in vain. How could Yang Hongwu's formation be broken so easily? If it was so easy to break through, it wouldn't be called the dragon trapping formation. If it were other strange beasts or warriors, this formation wouldn't restrict them so much. However, if it weren't for the dragons, Yang Hongwu wouldn't have set up this formation. Hongwu would not have laid down such a spirit array. In fact, although the great dragon trapping array restricted other cultivators, it was far less powerful than the dragon race. Looking at the huge black dragon Dharma Laksana rushing towards him, Yang Hongwu's mouth curled into a mocking smile. It was impossible for the black dragon Dharma Laksana to break through the matrix to attack him. He was the master of this matrix and controlled it. The formation erupted with a powerful force and suppressed the Black Dragon Patriarch's Dharma form. Bam! With a loud bang, the Black Dragon Patriarch's huge body was smashed down and landed on the ground, creating a huge pit. This attack made the Black Dragon Patriarch realize how terrifying this formation was. Moreover, this was under the condition that Yang Hongwu and the others hadn't made a move. If Yang Hongwu and the others attacked him, the threat would be even greater. Damn it! At this moment, the Black Dragon Patriarch realized that he was really facing a huge threat this time. He had underestimated the power of this formation. How about it, little Loach? Hand over the fragment of the dimensional boat. If you do so now, I can still spare your life. Yang Hongwu said, I can tell you very clearly now that I haven't used my real trump card yet. As he said that, Yang Hongwu erupted with a powerful pressure. This pressure suppressed the Black Dragon Patriarch. This kind of pressure made the Black Dragon Patriarch's soul tremble a little. It was too terrifying. However, he wasn't willing to give up now. Moreover, he was also worried that if he handed over the fragment and Yang Hongwu still didn't let him go, wouldn't he still die? Yang Hongwu could see that the Black Dragon Patriarch had been intimidated by him at this moment. Little Loach, if you don't hand it over, I can still get what I want by killing you. It would just take a little more time and trouble. Yang Hongwu said coldly. If it weren't for Yi Tianxing, Yang Hongwu wouldn't be so long-winded with the Black Dragon Patriarch. He would have directly suppressed him. Chapter 1982. Black Dragon, open up your mind. At this moment, a voice appeared in the mind of Patriarch Black Dragon. This voice was majestic, imposing, and made one tremble. It was Fiend Heaven's voice. Tao Lord Fiend Heaven's words carried an irresistible majesty. However, Tao Lord Fiend Heaven's commanding tone made Patriarch Black Dragon extremely unhappy. Furthermore, a strange person had entered his sea of consciousness and ordered him. How could he tolerate this? If he opened up his mind, wouldn't it mean that his life and death were controlled by someone else? Patriarch Black Dragon was not that stupid. Impossible. Who are you? Get out of my sea of consciousness. Patriarch Black Dragon was furious and roared. Little Loach, I'm Tao Lord Fiend Heaven. How dare you be so presumptuous towards me? You're courting death. Do you know that? Tao Lord Fiend Heaven was furious. This little black dragon actually dared to resist and disobey his orders. This made him extremely angry. Originally, Evil Heaven Tao Lord was very angry because Yang Hongwu had ruined his plan and prevented him from breaking out of the seal. This strand of divine was attached to Yi Tianxing's body. At this moment, it was trying to control the black dragon. The Patriarch's physical body was used to fight against Yang Hongwu and kill the person who ruined his plan. Be Astra starred. Who do you think you are? Dowlord Baleful Heaven. Forget about the fact that Dowlord Baleful Heaven had been sealed. Even if he hadn't been sealed, so what? You can't threaten me, and don't even think about possessing me. Get out. Patriarch Black Dragon roared furiously. In his sea of consciousness, he attacked Tao Lord Fiend Heaven. Tao Lord Fiend Heaven was furious. In fact, this black dragon also had the bloodline of the heavenly demon race. That was why he could enter his body so easily. In fact, Tao Lord Heaven Fiend could also possess Yi Tianqing's body directly. However, Yi Tianqing's body was under Yang Hongwu's control. Once he possessed Yi Tianqing's body, it meant that Yang Hongwu could destroy this body at any time. That was why he wanted to take control of the Black Dragon Ancestor's body. The reason for that was because this body was not under Yang Hongwu's control. Furthermore, it was even more powerful and tyrannical. It could withstand even more of his power. Once he possessed the Black Dragon's body, he would be able to unleash his full power. He originally thought that after the Black Dragon heard his name, it would cry and voluntarily give up control of its body to him. However, the Black Dragon didn't do that. Instead, it didn't take him seriously at all and ignored his might. How could he not be angry? Not angry? After being sealed for such a long time, the outside world had actually forgotten how terrifying he was. Even Black Dragon, who possessed the bloodline of the heavenly Fae, dared to act so impudently in front of him. Little B asterisk starred, you're courting death. Originally, I wanted to possess that young man's body after I killed him and gave you an opportunity. However, since you're so insensible, I can only destroy your soul. Moreover, your dragon soul can replenish my dragon soul. You can also replenish my soul. Killing you is perfect. Tao Lord Fiend Heaven was furious. A terrifying aura burst out. This was the origin power of Heaven Fiend. It condensed into a chain and instantly locked the Black Dragon's dragon soul. The Black Dragon Ancestor was terrified. He realized that his dragon soul had been sealed and he couldn't move. This seemed to be the power of his bloodline. However, this wasn't the power of the dragon's bloodline. The Black Dragon Ancestor knew that he had the bloodline of the heavenly Fae in his body. In fact, it wasn't just the Black Dragon Ancestor. Even the ferocious beasts and strange beasts of the heavenly Fae had the bloodline of the heavenly Fae. When this world had fallen, the power of his flesh and blood had spread throughout the heavenly Fae, nourishing this continent and allowing it to develop to such a state. That was why the heavenly Fae had become so powerful. Of course, this was also because of Ji's strength. He had actually destroyed a part of the heavenly Fae Emperor's body and sent it into the heavenly Fae to nourish the entire continent. However, it was precisely because of this that if any marine race or strange beast with a strong bloodline of the heavenly Fae wanted to break through to the Tao Lord realm, it was very likely that the heavenly Fae Emperor's consciousness would be awakened and he would be reborn. However, the possibility of this happening was too small. Jiga was a powerful figure. This world, the heavenly Fae, was the inner world of his Jiga divine temple. Moreover, there were experts guarding it. Of course, such a situation couldn't happen. However, the heavenly Fae hadn't given up. The heavenly Fae Emperor's descendant, the heavenly Fae King, had been trying to find a way to break the seal of the heavenly Fae. However, the possibility of this happening was too small. Martial artists in the Tao Lord realm were unable to enter the sky-reaching continent. Even sovereign realm experts were unable to enter from the outside world. As for martial artists below the Tao Lord realm, it was impossible for them to do much in the sky-reaching continent. As a result, for the current Black Dragon Patriarch, it was too depressing. There was a young Hongwu outside. Although he was only an emperor, he didn't know what kind of monster that guy was. He had such a terrifying formation that he couldn't fight back at all. Moreover, he had a terrifying bloodline of dragons. It was much stronger than his own bloodline of dragons. This was what he was afraid of. And now, the consciousness of Fiend Heaven Tao Lord had appeared in his sea of consciousness and was trying to take over his body. It was controlling his dragon soul, causing him to lose control of his physical body. Human, I promise you. However, you have to save me. Black Dragon Patriarch forcibly released a burst of power and said to Yang Hongwu. As soon as he finished speaking, he completely lost control of his physical body. Yang Hongwu narrowed his eyes. At this moment, he had already noticed something strange. A familiar energy had appeared in Black Dragon's body. This energy was the same as when he repaired the seal of the formation that sealed Fiend Heaven Dao Lord. It was none other than Fiend Heaven Dao Lord's aura. It was his aura. Black Dragon's words probably meant that Fiend Heaven Dao Lord had made his move. Why would Fiend Heaven Dao Lord appear here? Yang Hongwu looked at Yi Tianxing and grabbed it with his hand. Instantly, Yi Tianxing was in front of him. I didn't expect to fall into your trap, Yang Hongwu said coldly. Good. Very good. Chapter 1983. If young master wants to kill me, just do it. Why do you have to frame me? Yi Tianxing didn't give up. He didn't expect Yang Hongwu to find out so quickly. However, he refused to admit it. He knew very well that if he admitted it, he would die. Therefore, he couldn't admit it in order to survive. Still trying to deny it? Yang Hongwu sneered. It's no use. I don't need a reason to kill you. It doesn't matter if you admit it or not. If I want to kill you, you won't be able to escape death. Yang Hongwu reached out and grabbed Yi Tianxing's head. When Yi Tianxing saw Yang Hongwu's reaction, he wanted to kill him. He never thought that Yang Hongwu would be so direct. He didn't even need any evidence to kill him. This was beyond his expectation. Young master, aren't you afraid of killing me? Yi Tianxing's expression changed drastically. He wanted to resist and shouted. His goal was to make Tai Tulong and Shanhai Guanyue wary of Yang Hongwu. After all, Tai Tulong and Shanhai Guanyue were Yang Hongwu's important subordinates. If they lost their trust in Yang Hongwu, it wouldn't do any good to Yang Hongwu. However, at this time, how could Yi Tianxing's thoughts escape Yang Hongwu's eyes? All of his calculations were fake. Everything was in vain. Since he had made his decision, Yang Hongwu wouldn't drag it out. Moreover, if Tai Tulong and Shanhai Guanyue had the same idea, there was no need for them to stay. Moreover, Tai Tulong and Shanhai Guanyue were smart people. How could they be so easily bewitched by Yi Tianxing? Moreover, they didn't have a good impression of Yi Tianxing, especially Shanhai Guanyue. He had wanted to kill Yi Tianxing for a long time. Young master, I have said that this guy isn't a good person. He should have been killed long ago. Tai Tulong said. Young master, let me do it. Shanhai Guanyue said loudly. At this time, Yang Hongwu opened his 5 fingers and grabbed Yi Tianxing's head. Powerful magic power erupted from his body as his devouring power crazily devoured Yi Tianxing's magic power. Save me. At this moment, Yi Tianxing realized that he couldn't break free from Yang Hongwu at all. Moreover, Yang Hongwu was in control of his body. He didn't want to give up, so he shouted loudly. He could only place his hopes on Dao, Lord Heaven Fiend now. Only he could save him. Damn it. At this moment, Tian Sha was also enraged. However, he was currently in control of the Black Dragon Patriarch's body. Before he had complete control of the Black Dragon Patriarch's body, there was no way he could do anything to Yang Hongwu. To him, the most important thing was to seize the Black Dragon Patriarch's body. As for everything else, they had to be thrown aside. None of them were as important as this. Hold on for a while. Dao Lord Baleful Heaven spoke out from within Patriarch Black Dragon's body. It's too late. Yang Hongwu sneered. His devouring power had reached its peak. After devouring more than half of Yi Tianxing's magical power, he crippled Yi Tianxing's body and threw it to Shanhai Guanyue. Shanhai Guanyue, I'll leave this guy to you. I promised you. Thank you, young master. Shanhai Guanyue was overjoyed. She had wanted to kill Yi Tianxing for a long time. However, Yang Hongwu still needed Yi Tianxing. After all, Yang Hongwu was looking for the fragment of the planar boat. She thought that she would have to wait until Yang Hongwu got the fragment or even left the Black Fiend Abyss before she could kill Yi Tianxing. She didn't expect that the opportunity would come so soon. Yi Tianxing was courting death. Yang Hongwu was so powerful. How could he not be happy? Yang Hongwu smiled and didn't say anything. He knew that Yi Tianqing wouldn't die so easily. With Shan Hai Guanyue's strength, he could not completely kill Yi Tianqing, even if Yi Tianqing's cultivation was destroyed. Shanhai Guanyue could at most kill Yi Tianqing's physical body. She didn't have the ability to kill his true spirit, the heavenly demon's true spirit. However, it didn't matter to Yang Hongwu. Even if Shanhai Guanyue couldn't kill him, he wouldn't let her go. After Shanhai Guanyue killed Yi Tianqing and destroyed his physical body, a true spirit appeared. You won't be able to kill me. The heavenly demon true spirit turned into a terrifying heavenly demon beast. The surrounding baleful aura surged wildly, condensing and adhering to the heavenly demon's true spirit. That guy is Yi Tianqing? Didn't I obliterate his soul? Mountain Sea Watcher was shocked as he looked at the heaven demon true spirit in front of him. He could not believe his eyes. Although her strength was only at the late-stage sovereign realm, she knew very well that she had destroyed Yi Tianqing's physical body and even his soul. This is the true spirit of the heavenly demon tribe. This guy isn't human. He's from the heavenly demon tribe. Although you're strong, you can't destroy the true spirit of the heavenly demon tribe, especially in the Black Fiend Abyss. Yang Hongwu knew what was going on. Yi Tianqing wasn't human. His true body was from the heavenly demon tribe. Now, the true spirit was the true spirit of the heavenly demon tribe. Ordinary people couldn't kill it. After all, this guy wasn't an ordinary member of the heavenly demon tribe, but a member of the royal family. Today, all of you will die here. After Yi Tianqing condensed a terrifying body with the help of the baleful aura, he roared. After his human body was destroyed, he paid a huge price to condense this baleful aura body. In fact, this was just an energy body that consumed his origin. At this moment, most of his memories had awakened. It was because of this that he was able to condense this baleful aura body. However, if he condensed a baleful aura physical body, it meant that his true spirit wouldn't be able to survive for long. This made him very angry. At this moment, Heaven Sha also took control of Black Dragon Patriarch's physical body. Kid, step aside for now, Dowlord Baleful said coldly. Yes, my lord. When Yi Tianqing saw Heaven Sha, he was respectful and didn't dare to show any dissatisfaction. Although he was furious and wanted to kill Yang Hongwu, he had to step aside since Heaven Sha had spoken. Kid, Tian Sha looked at Yang Hongwu and said, You're not bad. Although you've spoiled my plans, if you submit to me now, I can still spare your life. I can even give you an unparalleled opportunity that will bring you great benefits. Yang Hongwu laughed and shook his head. You want to rope me in? Impossible. Chapter 1984. Yang Hongwu narrowed his eyes. Yang Hongwu really wanted the fragment of the planar boat. After all, he had come here for the fragment of the planar boat. If he had the last fragment, he would be able to merge the 3 fragments and obtain the complete planar boat. Then, he would be able to use the planar boat to easily leave Tongtian land and return to the Divine Dominion. He had been waiting for this moment for a long time. It was also the reason why he had come to Zhiga Divine Palace for the assessment. Hand over the fragment of the planar boat, and I can spare your life, Yang Hongwu said coldly. Although Yang Hongwu really wanted the fragment of the planar boat, Yang Hongwu couldn't let Tian Sha have his way. What a joke. If Tian Sha was released, it would be terrible. Zhiga probably wouldn't let him leave this world. Here, at that time, even a treasure stronger than the planar boat wouldn't be able to let him return to the Divine Dominion, let alone the planar boat. Yang Hongwu knew very well how terrifying Dao, Lord Heaven Malevolence, was. He was the strongest expert under the Heavenly Demon Emperor. If Heaven Malevolence were to appear, the Heavenly Demon Emperor would probably be revived as well. At that time, it would be equivalent to releasing a terrifying fiend. No, it should be said that he was a terrifying race. This was a terrifying race that would cause a terrible disaster to the myriad worlds. Here, at that time, the Divine Dominion would probably not be spared. Yang Hongwu wouldn't do such a thing. Even if the heavenly demon emperor couldn't be resurrected, there would definitely be a bloodbath in Tongtian land. At that time, his son, Yang Tianjun, might not be safe on Tongtian land. Yang Hongwu already knew that Yang Tianjun wouldn't follow him. Even if he forced him, it wouldn't work. Yang Tianjun had his pride and dignity. How could he follow him and be a good boy? It was precisely because he knew his son's thoughts and character that he didn't bring Yang Tianjun with him. Instead, he left him in Iron Mountain City. Therefore, even if he couldn't get the fragment of the planar boat, he couldn't let Tian Sha break the seal. Because of this, Yang Hongwu couldn't negotiate with Tian Sha. Besides, Tian Sha wasn't that easy to get along with. If he cooperated with Tian Sha, it was tantamount to asking a tiger for its skin. Once he broke the seal, he would be the one to die. No matter what, Yang Hongwu didn't want to see Tian Sha break the seal. If he couldn't stop him, he could only choose to escape. Of course, this possibility was too small. After all, there was still Zhiga and Berserker. Zhang would not watch Tian Sha break the seal. His strength was very strong. If they joined forces, no matter how strong Tian Sha was, it would be difficult for him to break the seal. At this time, the reason why Tian Sha wanted to rope Lin Fan in was probably because he wanted Lin Fan to help him break through the seal. That seal was too strong. If it could be broken so easily, the Tian Sha would have come out long ago. Hongwu seemed to feel the terrifying aura of the weapon. If this weapon appeared, it would be troublesome. With the existence of this Dao sword, the seal wouldn't be stable. The Sky Demon Dao sword was too terrifying. Yang Hongwu felt the aura of this Dao sword. It could destroy the heavens and earth. This world was difficult to seal. Moreover, according to the information in Yi Tianxing's mind, the Sky Demon Dao sword was in the Black Fiend Abyss. If that was the case, then they were in big trouble. Yang Hongwu couldn't figure out why Zhiga would seal the Sky Demon Dao sword in the sky-reaching continent. Moreover, there was such a terrifying expert sealed in this world, such as Tian Sha. If Tian Sha obtained the Sky Demon Dao sword, it would be difficult for the sky-reaching continent to continue existing. Yang Hongwu felt that Zhiga had left this behind on purpose. No, for some reason, this was what Yang Hongwu thought. It seems like you refuse a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit. Tian Sha's expression changed when he heard Yang Hongwu's words. He hadn't expected Yang Hongwu to not give him any face at all. Yang Hongwu had rejected him directly and even threatened him. He really didn't know what was good for him. Since you want to die, I'll grant you your wish. With that, Tian Sha pounced towards Yang Hongwu. He controlled the Black Dragon Patriarch's huge body, which seemed to be able to tear the heavens and earth apart. It was like a huge mountain that came crashing towards Yang Hongwu. Bam! There was a loud explosion as the massive dragon body crashed into the array formation. However, the array formation didn't break as the Sky Demon had expected. Instead, it only left a huge mark on the surface of the array formation. The powerful rebounding force sent the Sky Demon flying back. The strength of this array was beyond his expectations. It's useless, Yang Hongwu sneered. This array is specially designed to deal with dragons. You're now a dragon. If you want to break through this array, you'll need to expend more energy than an ordinary person. You want to stop me with a mere array? Tian Sha's loud voice was heard. Unless it's a Dao Great Array, it can't stop me. Next, Heaven Sha roared, and a terrifying aura burst out from his body. The heaven emanations condensed into a huge sword. This huge sword brought with it a destructive aura as it slashed towards the array formation. Yang Hongwu, who was outside the array, could feel the terrifying power contained in this huge sword. Crack! After the huge sword hit the edge of the array, there was a crisp sound. The powerful dragon trapping array was torn apart. Little bastard, you're dead meat. At this moment, Yi Tianxing laughed maniacally. Lord Tian Sha, you'll be able to break out of the array soon. When that time comes, it'll be your death. Yang Hongwu chuckled. He looked at Tian Sha and continued to attack the array. How could his dragon-trapping array be so easy to break? If it was so easy to break, it wouldn't be an array that he had set up. When the array formation barrier was completely torn apart, the Heaven Fiend charged towards Yang Hongwu. "Boy, I'll give you one more chance. Submit to me," Tian Sha said. "Dream on." Yang Hongwu replied. Seeing that Tian Sha was about to appear in front of him, Yang Hongwu was still disdainful. "Then go to hell," Tian Sha roared. His huge claws clawed towards Yang Hongwu. If his claw hit, Yang Hongwu would probably be smashed into a meat patty. However, something surprising happened. In front of Yang Hongwu, an invisible barrier appeared again. This invisible barrier burst out with a terrifying power of lightning and sent Tian Sha flying again. Entire. Chapter 1985. How is this possible? Tian Sha and Yi Tianxing's eyes widened. They couldn't believe what they were seeing. This formation had been torn apart before. How could it appear again? Moreover, it had become even more terrifying. It was actually nurturing the terrifying power of Thunderbolt. It was extremely difficult for the power of lightning to appear in the Black Fiend Abyss. This was because this world was actually suppressed. The power of lightning would either not appear or it would be extremely powerful once it appeared. However, this formation was able to unleash the power of lightning. Moreover, its power was extremely terrifying. Although it was not as strong as the lightning tribulations that were triggered when a real warrior broke through his cultivation, it was not too far off. Obviously, the power of lightning was not triggered by a martial artist breaking through a bottleneck. It was triggered by Yang Hongwu using the formation. This formation was so strange and powerful. Not only did it deceive Tian Sha, but it was also able to trigger the lightning tribulation. It was truly shocking. Where did this kid come from? He actually had so many trump cards. Tian Sha was regretting his decision to let his avatar appear at this moment to deal with Yang Hongwu. If he had appeared secretly instead of confronting Yang Hongwu, his avatar would be able to achieve great things once it left this place. However, it seemed like he was in big trouble now. This avatar was likely to be defeated by Yang Hongwu once again. However, Tian Sha was unwilling to give up. He launched another attack. So what if it was a lightning dragon? Who was he? He was Dao Lord Tian Sha, who had once dominated the heavens. A mere lightning could defeat him. Shatter! Tian Sha roared angrily. A dragon's breath shot out towards the lightning dragon in the sky. Yang Hongwu sneered. Although the black dragon's dragon breath was overbearing, the sky demon had forgotten that this body didn't belong to him. It belonged to the black dragon patriarch. The black dragon patriarch's strength wasn't weak. Although he was temporarily suppressed by the sky demon, this didn't mean that the black dragon patriarch's soul had been erased by the sky demon. Who was Yang Hongwu? He practiced the nine heavens godly dragon technique, and the bloodline in his body was the supreme bloodline of dragons. It could be said that any dragon would be suppressed before him. Of course, the nine heavens divine dragon technique that Yang Hongwu cultivated was not only used to suppress dragons, it could also help dragons and provide them with additional strength. This depended on how Yang Hongwu did it. At that moment, the black dragon ancestor's dragon soul was not destroyed. Instead, it was sealed. Yang Hongwu could not kill Tian Sha for the time being, but he could cause trouble for Tian Sha and awaken black dragon ancestor's dragon soul. Do! Yang Hongwu shouted, and a strong spiritual force burst out. Wake up! Yang Hongwu bellowed when the power of thunder collided with the black dragon. This bellow was unleashed using the sky dragon roar. In an instant, the dragon soul of the black dragon patriarch, who had been sealed by the sky fiend, was triggered. In an instant, the black dragon patriarch woke up and tore open a crack in the seal the sky fiend had placed on him. D*M*Min heaven emanations. How dare you seal me? Old Master Black Dragon bellowed. Get lost. Get out of my body. Bastard. Tian Sha was also infuriated. He had not expected that the seal on Hei Long's soul had been torn open. This meant that he could no longer control Hei Long's physical body as he wished. Furthermore, Hei Long was currently fighting for control of Hei Long's physical body. This caused him great trouble and prevented him from using all his strength to deal with Yang Hongwu. In this way, his strength would be greatly reduced, and he would not be able to unleash his full strength. He was already at a disadvantage in the confrontation with Yang Hongwu. With the addition of the Black Dragon Ancestor, he had almost no chance of winning. "I'll destroy you." At this moment, the Heaven Shah was extremely angry. He was already at a disadvantage, and now, the Black Dragon Patriarch was causing trouble for him. This made the Heaven Shah focus his attention on the Black Dragon Patriarch. Since he couldn't kill Yang Hongwu, he would kill the Black Dragon Patriarch first. He would destroy his soul and consume it completely. He would take over Black Dragon Ancestor's body. At the beginning, Tian Sha's attention was on Yang Hongwu. After all, Yang Hongwu's body was much stronger than Black Dragon Ancestor's. Although Yang Hongwu's cultivation realm was not high, and he was only an emperor, his body, talent, and the power in his body were far superior to Black Dragon Ancestor's. "You can't kill him." At that moment, Yang Hongwu activated the power of the Soul Curse. This was a soul curse. It turned into a small dragon and entered Black Dragon Ancestor's body. "Huh, Lil B asterisk star, you've got guts. Initially, I couldn't do anything to you when you were outside. I couldn't break your formation in a short period of time. But you just had to enter here with your soul. As long as I destroy your soul, you'll definitely die." Yang Hongwu said. The appearance of the soul curse made Tian Sha overjoyed. Although this was only a soul curse, it was still Yang Hongwu's soul origin energy. As long as he could devour and refine this soul curse, he would be able to control Yang Hongwu's soul origin energy. With that, he would be able to enter Yang Hongwu's body and take over Yang Hongwu's body. This was a great opportunity. "Master, let's work together. This is my body, and this is my soul consciousness. Although he's strong, as long as we work together, we can destroy Tian Sha's soul avatar." Black Dragon Ancestor said. At this time, the Black Dragon Old Ancestor realized just how strong Yang Hongwu was. Yang Hongwu's dragon soul was far more noble than his own. Even though it was just an incarnation, the Black Dragon Old Ancestor could feel a pressure coming from the depths of his soul. This was the supreme power of the dragon race. Could it be that Yang Hongwu had the bloodline of an ancestor of the dragon race? This was the only possibility. If he could get Lin Fan's help and obtain Lin Fan's blood essence, he might be able to improve greatly. Of course, if he could devour Lin Fan's bloodline origin energy, he would definitely be able to break through the bottleneck. Therefore, Black Dragon Ancestor had an idea. He wanted to work together with Yang Hongwu to kill Tian Sha, the guy who dared to take over his body. After killing Tian Sha, he would seal Yang Hongwu's soul in his soul consciousness and devour it to improve his cultivation and bloodline power. It was a good idea, but how could Yang Hongwu let him have his way? Moreover, this wasn't Yang Hongwu's dragon soul. It was just a soul curse. Chapter 1986. Can't fight back. Yang Hongwu laughed. If Tian Sha had come in person, he might not be able to fight back. Yang Hongwu wouldn't even think about it. Even if he had to give up the fragment of the Arc of Dimension, he wouldn't go against Tian Sha. But now, it was just an incarnation. Yang Hongwu wasn't worried about Tian Sha's incarnation at all. How dare you be so arrogant with just an incarnation? If it was the real body, I might be wary. But now, it's just an incarnation. You're courting death. Yang Hongwu snorted coldly. The power of the curse exploded to the maximum. Instantly, it clashed with Tian Sha's real spirit. The power of the curse wasn't any ordinary power. Yang Hongwu had integrated the power of hellfire and the power of creation into the power of the curse. These were three extreme powers. When the three powers fused together, they formed a balance. Once this balance was broken, there would be a terrifying explosion of power. The moment this wisp of curse power struck the sky demon's body, the balance was broken. After the balance was broken, The terrifying power that erupted directly stunned the Sky Fiend. How can this be? Tian Sha couldn't believe that he was suppressed so easily. This is the power of creation. How can you control the power of creation? Nothing is impossible. Yang Hongwu sneered. Now, you no longer have the slightest chance of winning. Just admit defeat. At this moment, Yang Hongwu was confident that he could completely suppress Tian Sha's incarnation. As for his real body, it was impossible for him to appear. Unless Berserk Warrior released him, Tian Sha would have no chance of turning the tables. Kid, you're too arrogant. Do you really think that you have the upper hand? Tian Sha laughed. Originally, I wanted to take over your body. But now that I can't do that, I can only kill you. Tian Sha's tone made Yang Hongwu and Black Dragon Patriarch's faces change. Could it be that he had a backup plan or a trump card? Young Master, what should we do? The Black Dragon Patriarch looked at Yang Hongwu and asked. He didn't dare to make a move. Yang Hongwu glanced at the Black Dragon Old Ancestor. This guy was really timid. This was his sea of consciousness, but he didn't have any opinions. However, Yang Hongwu would not let his guard down on the Black Dragon Old Ancestor. This fellow was not the kind of person who could be completely trusted. When one's strength reached this level, who would be kind? Moreover, this was a black dragon. For it to be able to grow to its current level, its claws must have been stained with the blood and souls of countless living beings. What should we do? Kill this incarnation of his first, Yang Hongwu said coldly. Don't tell me you don't want to help. This guy actually didn't make a move. One must know that this was the Black Dragon Old Ancestor's sea of consciousness. He actually stood aside and didn't show any signs of making a move. How could Yang Hongwu not know what he was thinking? This guy wasn't a kind person. He probably wanted to take advantage of the situation. Of course, Yang Hongwu wouldn't let him do as he wished. Seeing that Yang Hongwu had seen through his thoughts, the Black Dragon Old Ancestor had no choice but to make a move. He rushed towards Tian Sha aggressively. Old man, weren't you very arrogant? Today I'll kill you. The Black Dragon Old Ancestor's dragon soul turned into a terrifying giant dragon. Its huge body was much bigger than Tian Sha. Compared to the Black Dragon Old Ancestor's dragon soul, Tian Sha's real spirit incarnation was like an ant. The difference was huge. Just as the Black Dragon Old Ancestor's claws were about to hit Tian Sha's real spirit, the Black Dragon Old Ancestor's dragon soul suddenly trembled. My physical body is under attack. The Black Dragon Old Ancestor's face turned pale. His dragon soul instantly disappeared. At this moment, Yang Hongwu also disappeared from the Black Dragon Old Ancestor's sea of consciousness. Tian Sha sneered and also disappeared. In the outside world, Yang Hongwu took in a deep breath as he looked at the space before him. A gigantic sword had appeared. This giant sword carried a terrifying aura with it. The reason why the Black Dragon Old Ancestor had disappeared was because the sword chi of this giant sword had struck his body, causing him to be severely injured. At this moment, a wound had appeared on the Black Dragon Old Ancestor's body. Fresh blood flowed out from the wound. There was no way for the long wound to heal. This was the terrifying part of the giant sword. Sky Demon Dao Sword. Yang Hongwu took a deep breath. Yang Hongwu recognized this giant sword. This was because he had seen it in Yi Tianxing's memories. This giant sword was the Sky Demon Dao Sword that Yi Tianxing had been searching for. It was no wonder that Tian Sha and Yi Tianxing had been so fearless. It turned out that the terrifying Sky Demon Dao Sword was actually here. However, this Sky Demon Dao Sword hadn't truly awakened. The sword spirit of the Sky Demon Dao Sword had been sealed. There was a huge difference between strength and when it was at its peak. If the Sky Demon Dao Sword had been at its peak, its strength would have been comparable to a peak Dao Lord. But now, although the Sky Demon Dao Sword hadn't recovered or awakened, its strength couldn't be underestimated. If someone could control it, the Sky Demon Dao Sword could also unleash terrifying power. You should be proud that you've forced me to this point, Tian Sha said coldly to Yang Hongwu and the others. At this moment, Tian Sha had condensed a true spirit, and no longer occupied the Black Dragon Old Ancestor's body. The Black Dragon Old Ancestor had been injured by the Sky Demon Dao's sword and was on the verge of death. Originally, the Sky Demon Dao's sword had injured him greatly, but it wouldn't have been fatal. But the key was that after the Sky Demon Dao's sword had injured the Black Dragon Old Ancestor's body, it had caused his soul to suffer a backlash. This was truly fatal. A fragment of the planar Arkansas. Yang Hongwu reached out and grabbed a fragment. Yang Hongwu grabbed it. "Save me," the Black Dragon Old Ancestor said to Yang Hongwu. He knew that he was on the brink of death. If Yang Hongwu didn't save him, only death would await him. There was no chance of survival. Therefore, Yang Hongwu was a life-saving straw. If he could grab hold of Yang Hongwu, he could live. If not, he would die. He didn't want to die, so he naturally asked for help from Yang Hongwu. Yang Hongwu ignored him. He stared at Tian Sha and the Sky Demon Dao sword. This sword gave him too much pressure. As expected of the legendary Sky Demon Dao sword, it was a terrifying existence. Yang Hongwu frowned slightly. The Sky Demon Dao sword gave him too much pressure. As for taking the Sky Demon Dao sword, the possibility was too low. Chapter 1987. If he couldn't deal with the Tian Sha or the Sky Demon Dao sword in a short time, he would be in big trouble this time. Originally, everything had been under his control. However, he had never imagined that the Sky Demon Dao sword would appear at this moment. This sword had now become his greatest threat. Haha, little bastard, you're dead. Yi Tianxing was the happiest to see the Sky Demon Dao sword appear. This was the Sky Demon Dao sword he had been searching for all this time. Now that it had appeared, it meant that his mission was complete. At this moment, his memories had completely awakened. He naturally knew who the Tian Sha before him was. He was the strongest person in the Heavenly Demon Tribe besides the Heavenly Demon Emperor. And the third was his master, the Heavenly Demon King. The Heavenly Demon King wanted him to enter the Black Fiend Abyss to find the Sky Demon Dao sword. Once the Heavenly Demon King obtained the Sky Demon Dao sword, his bloodline would undergo a perfect transformation, allowing him to inherit the true power of the Heavenly Demon Emperor. This was why the Heavenly Demon King had paid a huge price to send Yi Tianxing's true spirit into the Zhiga Shrine and into the Sky Span continent. While the Heavenly Demon King was also worried that his memories would be discovered by others, so he sealed Yi Tianxing's memories completely. This seal could not be undone by anyone other than the Heavenly Demon King himself. Even an expert at Zhiga's level could not undo it. If he tried to forcefully undo the seal on Yi Tianxing's memories, it would directly trigger the seal in Yi Tianxing's sea of consciousness and detonate it, completely destroying Yi Tianxing. Thus Yi Tianxing, who had completely recovered his memories, was overjoyed. This mission was complete. As long as he left the Black Fiend Abyss, he could directly activate the teleportation power to open a passage and send the Sky Demon Dao sword out. This was a good idea, but it was not an easy task. The Sky Demon Dao sword was the most important of all. It was on the same level as the Tian Sha. How could Zhiga not have an idea? Thus Yang Hongwu guessed that the appearance of the Sky Demon Dao sword was already known to Zhiga or his disciple, Mad Battle Dao Lord. No, however, Mad Warrior did not appear. One possibility was that he wanted to see what other trump cards Yang Hongwu had. Another possibility was that he was being held back by Tian Sha's original body. After all, the Sky Demon was not a weakling. He was second only to the Sky Demon Emperor and was the strongest person in the Sky Demon Tribe. His strength was at the peak of the Dao Lord realm, and his combat strength was quite terrifying. Although Berserker's strength was also very strong, he should still be slightly weaker than Tian Sha. Therefore, at this time, it was very normal for Berserker to be restrained by the Sky Demon. However, no matter what, Yang Hongwu was facing an enormous test this time. Dead for sure? Looking at the arrogant and despotic Yi Tianxing, Yang Hongwu's eyes flashed coldly. Let's see who's going to die. After saying that, Yang Hongwu instantly disappeared. In the next moment, a big hand appeared in front of Yi Tianqing. Yang Hongwu grabbed Yi Tianqing's true spirit tight. Then, Yang Hongwu returned to the distance, still holding Yi Tianqing's true spirit in his hand. At this moment, Yi Tianqing came back to his senses and realized that he had been caught. He was terrified. Yang Hongwu's speed was too fast. Even the sky demon could not react in time. Save me, save me. At this time, Yi Tianqing felt the terrifying, murderous intent erupting from Yang Hongwu. Yi Tianqing knew Yang Hongwu quite well. Yang Hongwu had the terrifying divine fire, the red lotus hellfire. The hellfire was his nemesis. The hellfire could easily destroy the sky demon's devilish chi. In addition, Yang Hongwu's strange and unpredictable speed just now and his method of silently setting up the formation were all extremely terrifying. After awakening his memory, he was even more aware of how terrifying Yang Hongwu was. There was a terrifying seal in his memory. This seal was so powerful that no one could break it. However, it was broken by Yang Hongwu. From this, it could be seen that Yang Hongwu's methods were amazing. Therefore, he was so terrified after being caught by Yang Hongwu. If he was caught by Tai Tulong and the others, he would not be worried at all. However, he was caught by Yang Hongwu. At this time, he was terrified to the extreme, because Yang Hongwu had a way to kill him. At this moment, he found that his true spirit was being burned by Yang Hongwu's hellfire. The hellfire was burning fiercely. He let out a shrill scream. Lord Sky Demon, save me, save me. Yi Tianqing had no choice but to beg the Sky Demon for help. He hoped that the Sky Demon could save him. At this time, only Tian Sha had the ability to save Yang Hongwu's life from the hands of Yang Hongwu. He did not believe that Yang Hongwu would let him go. I was sent to Sky-reaching continent by the Sky Demon King. I have a way to open the passage and send you and the Sky Demon Dao sword out of Sky-reaching continent. Once I die, there will be no other way. In order to save his life, Yi Tianqing had no choice but to reveal his identity. At this moment, if he did not reveal everything, only death would await him. Originally, this was a secret that he could not easily reveal. However, in order to protect himself, in order to preserve his life, in order to survive, it was all worth it. Heaven the Sky Demon originally wanted to let Yi Tianqing go. After all, Yang Hongwu was too strange. Although his cultivation level was not high, his battle power was too strong. Moreover, he did not know how many trump cards he had. Just now, Yang Hongwu had caught Yi Tianqing too quickly. The Sky Demon did not even have time to react. Moreover, the hellfire in Yang Hongwu's hand and the strange power of creation made him especially wary. If such power erupted, even his original body would be injured. This was what he was most worried about. At this moment, without absolute certainty, he really did not want to fight to the death with Yang Hongwu. But now that he heard Yi Tianqing's words, he hesitated, because in his current situation, it was too difficult for him to leave Sky-reaching continent. It was almost impossible, even if he had the Sky Demon Dao sword. This was because not only was there an expert like Crazy Warrior protecting him, but there was also the power of Zhiga itself. After all, this was Zhiga Divine Temple, which was a supreme treasure of Zhiga. Chapter 1988. Heaven Fiend Dao Lord knew very well that if Yi Tianqing was telling the truth, the only way he could leave the Sky-reaching continent and the Divine Palace was through Yi Tianqing's teleportation technique. After a moment of hesitation, Heaven Fiend still made his move, charging towards Yang Hongwu. A terrifying aura instantly enveloped Yang Hongwu's body. The Sky Demon Dao sword was also extremely ferocious, filled with boundless killing intent. These two domineering forces instantly locked onto Yang Hongwu. You want to kill me? Yang Hongwu smiled. The Sky Demon Dao sword and Heaven Fiend's combined strength was indeed incomparably powerful. You're dreaming. Although you're both strong, it's still not very possible for you to kill me. After saying that, Yang Hongwu's figure disappeared, taking Yi Tianqing with him. Bastard, leave Yi Tianqing behind. Heaven Fiend actually wanted to kill Yang Hongwu this time, but his main goal was still to take back Yi Tianqing's true spirit. Haha, it's impossible for you to take back your true spirit. Yang Hongwu laughed, grabbing Yi Tianqing's true spirit with his hand, instantly erupting with an even stronger force. This force exploded in an instant, directly destroying Yi Tianqing's true spirit. Yi Tianqing's true spirit was obliterated. Bastard! Heaven Fiend was enraged to the extreme when he saw Yi Tianqing's true spirit completely obliterated. He could no longer hide the anger in his heart. In a frenzy, he grabbed the Sky Demon Dao sword and waved it in the air, forming a giant Sky Demon Dao sword. The giant Sky Demon, filled with the majesty of an unparalleled expert, flew towards Yang Hongwu. What shocked Yang Hongwu the most was that in front of this giant heavenly demon, the formation he had arranged was actually torn apart like a piece of paper. Terrifying, it was really too terrifying. The Sky Demon Dao Sword and Heaven Fiend's power added together was not as simple as 1 + 1. It was too ferocious. He had used those Dao-grade divine origin stones to set up this formation, so it was easy to imagine how powerful it was. Although this was a formation that he had hastily set up and did not have a powerful formation disc, its power was still not to be underestimated. Even a Dao Lord would not be able to destroy the formation in such a short amount of time. As for the Heaven Baleful and Sky Demon Dao Sword, but working together, they did it. Little B Asterisk starred, "You can't escape." Tian Sha roared. His speed was getting faster and faster. He was about to catch up with Yang Hongwu. Tai Tulong and Shanhai Guanyue's expressions changed drastically. They did not know what to do. The combined strength of the Tian Sha and the Sky Demon Dao Sword was too terrifying. It was not something the two of them could fight against. If they went up, they would definitely die. However, if they did not, Yang Hongwu would probably die. If Yang Hongwu was killed, it would be a fatal blow to Tai Tulong. He would also die. Therefore, Tai Tulong was in a dilemma. As for Shanhai Guanyue, she was much better off than Tai Tulong. Although she was very worried, she would not die even if Yang Hongwu was killed. Although she had signed a contract with Yang Hongwu, she would not die just because Yang Hongwu died. Only Tai Tulong would do something like that. Don't be rash. Tai Tulong was about to rush up to stop Tian Sha, but Shanhai Guanyue stopped him. No, I can't let anything happen to the young master. If he dies, everything is over. Tai Tulong said, "Don't worry too much. Haven't you realized that the young master will not do anything he is not confident in? Besides, the young master has not used his powerful trump cards yet. It is enough to show that the young master is not at the end of his rope. If you rush up rashly, there is no chance of survival. You will just be throwing your life away." Shanhai Guanyue said. Hearing this, although Tai Tulong was very anxious, he still stopped. He had no intention of rushing up. At this time, Tian Shan naturally did not care about Tai Tulong and Shanhai Guanyue. Although the two of them were strong, he did not put them in his eyes. As long as he dealt with Yang Hongwu, killing the two of them would be a piece of cake. Therefore, his attention was completely focused on Yang Hongwu at this moment. Moreover, this kid had many trump cards and seemed to have some connection with Wild War. If he could capture this kid, he might have a chance to use him to threaten Wild War. Die! Seeing that he had caught up, the Sky Demon Dao sword in Tian Sha's hand turned into a terrifying sword chi that hit Yang Hongwu. In an instant, Yang Hongwu's physical body was shattered into pieces. Impossible! Seeing this, Tai Tulong and Shanhai Guanyue's faces changed. Was Yang Hongwu going to die just like that? The young master is definitely fine. Tai Tulong found that he was fine and heaved a sigh of relief. If Yang Hongwu was killed, then he would not be able to live either. Since he was fine now, it meant that Yang Hongwu was fine too. At least, he was not dead. But in that scene, he had clearly seen Yang Hongwu's physical body being destroyed. Avatar, that's an avatar. At this time, Yang Hongwu's figure appeared again behind Tian Sha. Yang Hongwu attacked fiercely. This attack was the power of the life seal. The entire life seal instantly turned into the size of a gigantic mountain. An endless amount of energy came crashing down on Lin Fan. This time, the Tian Sha, who was caught off guard, was sent flying. His true spirit could not withstand the impact of this terrifying power and was almost completely shattered. If not for the Sky Demon Dao sword, this attack would have been enough to kill him. Killed. After all, this was not his true body, but just a true spirit. The Sky Demon Dao sword was also sent flying. After that attack, Yang Hongwu had also used up a lot of energy. He hurriedly retreated. This was the strongest attack Yang Hongwu had ever used. This attack was Yang Hongwu's full strength. He held nothing back. In that strike, Yang Hongwu had infused the power of the Red Lotus Hellfire into it, including the power of creation. In addition to the power of the common people's great world, he had used up more than half of it. Combined with the power of the common people's great seal, this strike still did not succeed. He was willing to kill the Sky Sha completely. From this, one could see how powerful the Sky Sha and the Sky Demon Dao sword were. The young master is mighty. In the distance, Shanhai, Guanyue, and Tai Tulong, who had thought that Yang Hongwu had been killed, were overjoyed. They had not expected Yang Hongwu to be so strong. Even someone as strong as Tian Sha had been suppressed. It was too shocking. Despicable bastard, Tian Sha condensed his true spirit again, staring at Yang Hongwu. His killing intent was at its peak. But this time, Tian Sha did not dare to attack. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.